Hey, everybody out there in YouTube land, Sam Dennehy, aka Halfass Customs, and this is Halfass Presents the podcast. Today's special guest, all the way from the West Coast, is Victor Salazar. Victor, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got in this hobby?
Oh yeah, Victor Salazar. It's been a long time doing customs and stuff like this. I got into it about 4 years ago. Collecting is what I got going on when I first started. Um, I just go into Walgreens or Walmart and saw these cars, and I was like, man, I used to play with cars back in the days as a kid. Didn't realize until like 20, 30 years later, I'm like, they've gotten a lot better in designs and
Yeah.
you know, way cooler cars. So I started picking, 10, 12. Soon it was 50, then it was 100. And then my wife's like, you have to get like a tote or something to get these guys in there. I'm like, yeah, I think we might have to do that. And then I was messing around on YouTube one day on Hot Wheels, and I was coming across, I'm not heard if you've heard of Diecast Resurrections.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I, yeah, I watched him. I'm like, there's no way these guys are doing this with these Hot Wheels. So first video I saw, he's like, just go ahead and just start detailing little Hot Wheels, paint little like
Right.
the brake lights with markers and stuff like that. Don't get too crazy, just start practicing like that. And I was like, I pressed pause on that video and went straight to the back and I busted out some random Hot Wheels and let's see what happens. And I, just grabbed a handful of cars. I'm like, twirling them around, looking at this. I'm like, see what I can do. And then I got bit by the bug, man. It was then on. I started
That's
taking them
awesome.
apart and then into the lab and started, stuff flying all over the place, buying supplies and stuff.
Oh yeah. You can't leave it stock. I mean, just a repaint, it's it, anybody
Yeah,
can do that. You gotta
yeah.
go more. So
You
you
gotta
gotta
go.
buy them parts.
You got the next level is what you got to do. And then once you get that
Yeah.
down, you go to the next level. It's kind of like playing games. You got to go to the next level to get to the master.
Right.
Then hopefully you can beat that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So what I was a fan of your work of was the genre of vehicles that you particularly seem to build more of. Um, and that happens to be the lowriders. I'm a huge lowrider guy, being from
Oh
the West Coast,
yeah,
uh, Southern California. I grew up with that stuff right in my backyard, and I've been in love with it ever since the late
yeah,
80s.
yeah. Um, this all happened with lowriders. I grew up in the system when I was 7. Group homes, foster care, shelters. Learning to tie my own shoe and wipe my own ass type thing. You know what I mean? Instead of raised with parents, I was raised by counselors and staff members. And then
Damn.
throughout that time, they took us to car shows. They took us to, field trips and stuff like that. I always wanted to go like to the nearest cruising when I was cruising on Central in Phoenix, or the nearest car show at the local high school. I just wanted to go there. And then lowriders are always there, always present at these car shows. And everybody wanted to go to like muscle cars and like, at that time, JDM wasn't really huge back then, but
No.
it was mostly lowriders. That was it. And I'd go there, take my pictures and look at, the wheels and, other stuff like that. And then I just fell in love with lowriders, man. Just the constant variety and people's imaginations that go into these cars is insane. To the paint jobs, to the characters on the hoods, all the gold plating, the chrome, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Every car was completely different. You did not see the same one at all. No matter how
No.
many car shows you went to, you didn't see the same one. You didn't.
See, and that's the crazy thing. I grew up going to a car show every weekend with my dad, and I'm 42, so back then it was 80s, 90s style.
Yeah.
It was classic car shows. That's what you went to, and you had the hot rods and the classic cars. And very little did you see the lowriders until I'd say really the rap um, and I wouldn't say black culture, but the rap music involved the lowriders in the music and in the videos, and then you started seeing them everywhere. Now they were always everywhere already. They just weren't at a classic car show. They were at a dedicated lowrider show or a
Yeah.
cruising. And car shows were mainly on a Saturday, and cruises were mainly on Sunday for the lowrider guys. It's
Yeah.
always been a Sunday thing. And
Yeah.
so you could go to a car show and see 25 57 Chevys that look exactly the same.
Mhm.
But you get that
It's with,
one with a little 13-inch spokes,
yeah.
with gold trim and everything and a pleated interior, and you're like, nah, this is where it's at. Not
Hmm.
not those other 24 stock vehicles.
Yeah.
This is where it's at because it's
Yeah.
got
With
style.
the 100, 250 spoke, you know what I mean? As far as they can do it,
Yeah.
300 spoke, whoever had the most spokes was the dude, you know what I mean?
Right, right, right.
To
Yeah,
me,
it's
when I grew up around that, it was a bunch of essays, a bunch of Vatos and
yeah,
Mexicans. So their riders were like to extreme levels. I mean, they didn't go like down here, they went above everybody else. You know what I
right.
mean?
And if you went to a lowrider show, you weren't bringing a car you just bought and put spokes on it. Your car had to be done and it had to be
Done,
show ready.
completely done.
Yeah,
Yeah. You did not show it, you did not get it out of the garage at all until it was completely done. And then you kind of get it done and see around the neighborhood and drive around, see what kind of compliments, or you get some guy's advice or what it needed to be done, and then you go to the local small little car club and you're like, oh yeah, this would be tight if you did this, or it'd be really cool if you did
right,
that.
right.
Taking those ideas and you go back into the garage and you do whatever you needed to do, and then come out again, and then by the time you're done, you're like at that level to like shine it up and polish it
Right.
up and go.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, like the one of the most famous, I'd say, lowrider, non-lowrider car ever, the Love Machine from Up in Smoke, but that wasn't even considered a lowrider. That was just the
Uh,
Cheech and Chong Love
yeah,
Machine. That's all it was ever considered.
that's all it
And
was.
that was a primer car with two different color primers on it. And nobody considered that a lowrider, strictly probably because of that fact. I mean, it had the interior for the most part. It had the Kreger wheels, and in two scenes of the beginning of that movie, they used two different cars. I'm not sure if you know that. One car had hydraulics because it's just bouncing down the road because of the suspension. Not
Oh, okay.
bouncing, but
It's
bouncing
like
because there was no
leaf
suspension.
springs. Yeah, the leaf
Yeah.
springs are. Yeah,
And then the other car had suspension, so it drove smoother and you didn't see the wobbly bouncing. But they still never considered that a lowrider,
hmm.
even though it was always a lowrider.
It was always Every time I see the movie, I know it is. It's all right.
Yeah. And
You know what
so
I
if
mean?
you were to see that at a show in the 80s or 90s, you would have thought, this doesn't go here. Why they didn't even finish this card? Take that out of here.
Yeah, yeah. But being so
Even
iconic now, they'd be like everybody be
right.
drawn to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's what's funny. There was a replica somebody made out here in North Carolina. Had the perfect looking interior, the Kreger wheels, uh, the SS, everything, done it right, and they were asking 15,000 for it. And
Oh
by
my God.
God, I wish I had the money. I
Oh,
wish I had that money. It
down
just
to
didn't have the hydraulics.
man. Some of these
It did
cars are
sell
insane.
though.
Oh, I
Yeah,
bet. I bet it did. Yeah, I bet it did.
but it just made me mad because I knew what that car was. I love that car. I love that car more because you don't have to worry about getting it dirty than I would a fully show car because you
Hmm.
got to worry about every little thing on a show car. But on the Love Machine, you ain't got to worry about nothing.
Yeah, just leave it. Just leave it as
Hell,
is.
the driver's door didn't even have a lock. You just locked it with the little latch,
Yeah,
and
that was the
it didn't even have a lock on
that
it.
was, that was primer brown right there.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, now these riders today are really cool. They got the halogen headlights and the painted wheels. They're starting to paint their wheels now to
Oh
match
yeah,
their,
yeah, right,
the outside wheel.
yeah.
But
And
really
then the
cool.
engraving everywhere.
Engravings insane on these cars. Like who
Right.
has I don't know where they get it done or what type of machine that has to be that big, but
They
for
all know somebody. Yeah,
the
they
money that
all
goes.
know somebody. There's
Oh yeah,
probably only a handful of people in the country that do it, and they're just jam packed all year round, probably for the next
just
20 years
yeah.
of their life.
You're just booked. The same
Right.
people that used to do pistols and that kind of engraving just made
Yeah,
it
yeah.
large. You know what I mean? Just made it bigger. They're like, I could do
right.
pistols. I could do your bumper real quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, literally, it was something along that same level.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Because
you want
you would have
you're
looked 10 years ago and you would have said engraving. What for? What? This is
yeah,
like a hobby. I'm not putting
yeah,
hobby stuff on my car,
yeah.
but
You
now
like,
it's just
I know somebody who can
everywhere.
airbrush. I can airbrush somebody. You know, somebody can
Yeah,
airbrush, but
right.
engraving wasn't really at all. You get a nice airbrusher, like he was booked till 20 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it's still the same today. I mean now you just added an extra key factor to the low riding, saga is engraving, and it'll be a wonder maybe in the next 10 years what else decides to come out.
Yeah. What else is going to be the next thing? And
Yeah,
I like the painted wheels for some reason. I just like that. You know, just matches their paint and it just goes really well.
yeah, and I like. So I see that you do 1/64th and you do 1/24 scale diecast.
Yeah.
Do you do 1/8 or 1/18 scale too?
I think that's my
Or
now we do a 63 model
yeah, yeah,
118.
yeah.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
that's my next thing after I get some of these done. I'm gonna smash out a 63 and see what happens.
it's a big
Um,
car, man,
it's a
compared
big
to the
car.
1/64th.
It's a definitely big car and a lot more paint and a lot more details because everyone's gonna be looking
A
at it
lot.
closer, a lot closer.
Yeah.
And I used to do that
I
in
mean,
high schools and in the shelters used to live at. They used to give us models just to keep our heads going. You know what I mean? And I
that's
started
awesome.
snatching like these trucks, like these 56, 57s, 58 trucks, and I just put them together. And then I'm like, what else can I do with it? And I just start making parts out of like the spare parts of like where you clamp your the frame, the plastic
Yeah,
parts.
yeah. Oh
Have
yeah,
that
the tree.
the tree,
Yeah,
and I
it's
start
a parts
making
tree. Yeah.
something that would be still with
Hmm.
the pancakes side to side, up and down, and I just glue it right there, like straight up, and then put the stock wheels on there, and then spray paint it gold, and start doing faded paints and pearls and all that stuff, and it was really cool. It was fun. I've done tons of cars like that. Just kept going and going, and
That's
then
awesome.
yeah, my uncle did mechanics. I used to be at his store helping him out. My cousin and I would do models together in his room and start busting stuff out. And he was more into muscle cars and like NASCAR. And I was kind of into the same thing at the time. And we just started doing NASCAR stuff then, start building like skill 3 NASCARs with all the details and the
Right.
harder and stuff like that. Yeah. All the decals and make sure they're on correctly. Look at the pictures and the boxes and go
So I'll
through
have to ask. I'll have to ask. When was this? Do you think 80s or early 90s?
early 90s, early 90s. I'm
So
40,
right
so
at the
yeah.
yeah, right at the beginning of the lowrider model was
Oh
the
yeah,
early
yeah.
90s.
Cheap too.
So
We're talking like $12 a model. Now you can't even
oh,
find
the
a good 60,
great
70
time. Yeah, those were the greatest times. I know there was a model shop in Riverside, California, where I grew up, and it was just model cars, trucks, diesel trucks, just the automotive modeling actual shop. That's all that was in there. No planes, no boats, no nothing. And it was a dying breed of that kind of a hobby for just one genre of models. But
Yeah.
they had every single thing from the 60s promos to the modern stuff. And I remember going in there and thinking, you could anything you wanted, this guy had. But he didn't have the lowrider stuff
Yeah.
because he was more into like the NASCAR and the hot rod and the muscle car stuff, and he had boatloads of that stuff. But the lowriders, he wouldn't carry any of the accessories because most of his clientele for that genre of vehicle were of one nationality that weren't into the lowriders.
Hmm.
So I'd go in there to find a kit, but that's all I could buy. And they had kits in there that had the original prices from when they were released when he
Oh,
bought them
really?
that never sold. So he'd have a bunch of kits in there for like $5, $6, sometimes $4,
Oh,
depending on how old that kit was.
yeah.
And I was so young at the time, I didn't know any better to like hoard that stuff.
Hmm.
But he disappeared maybe in the early 90s. And I don't know whoever bought all that stuff, man. They got away like they
That's
robbed it.
great. and they won a lottery on that stuff, man.
Yeah, they did.
I used to have the. I mean, I saved some money in the shelter I was living at, and I bought this '64 Impala. It was bright red, had the chrome bumpers, and it came. Remember, it came with the remote, had a cord that came
Oh,
with it, and only
yeah,
had
yeah,
two buttons. Had two
yeah.
buttons, a
That's
red
the Hop and Hydros one.
tap and hydros. I had that
Yeah,
one, and I'd play that thing to death. It's like going up and down the desk and playing with it. I can't
yeah,
remember what happened to it, but I bought that for $6, brand new at a store, and I
yep,
can't find them for at least 120, almost $200 nowadays.
yeah. They're ridiculous.
I
Like
played that thing till the wheels fell off, man.
I bought one of those non-working, just for the body for probably $12 at a model car show, and I just wanted it for the body because it's based on the AMT kit. But what they did, if you take an AMT 64 Impala body and you line it up with that Hop and Hydros body, the Hop and Hydros body's got a chop top to the roof. It's subtle and you don't notice it, but you take it to a stock 64 Impala and you put that Hop and Hydros next to it, that roof line is at least 3 inches lower than the stock one in scale, 3 inches in scale. So it's got a natural chop top to a 64 Impala that most people don't even know about.
Oh wow, wow! I
So
know that.
yeah, well, like I said, most people don't. And it's cool for a mild custom because if you don't know it, you wouldn't just look at that and think, oh, it's just a regular 64 Impala. But if you put it next to side by side to a regular one, you'll be like, there's something off about this, and that's what it is. It's a chop top.
Oh man, yeah. Holy crap.
The only problem with that is the Hop and Hydros had black windows because the whole motor mechanism was inside the body. So you got to modify an AMT window to fit that thing so you can get clear windows all the way around. But I mean, if you're a modeler, you know how to do it anyways.
Yeah,
Or
bunch
you
of
know how to
fabric.
make it work.
Yeah, yeah, you can do it. Easily do it.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
you
all
got
kinds.
into diecast. You said you've been doing diecast for 3 years. When did you figure out you wanted to do lowrider diecast? Was it right away, or did it take a little while?
It took a little while because I wasn't sure what kind of, if they even made the 164 wheels that small.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's a tiny wheel.
That
And
is.
I started using the Hot Wheels gold ones, the really nice
Yeah, yeah,
gold
yeah.
plated. I used those for a
Right.
little bit. It just didn't. It just didn't set.
Now,
For
those
me,
wheels end up being like a 15 to probably 17-inch wheel.
yeah. For me, a wheel makes the car. You could have a $15,000 paint job, but if your wheels don't go with the car, you just don't have.
Exactly.
It's just not right. You know what I mean? You just it's not there.
You're
So it took me
100%
a
right.
while. You know what I mean? And I just recently, about a year ago, got hooked up with my buddy John Zier from
Hmm.
RPX
Yeah,
Designs.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
The
My
best
wheels
in the
from
business for that
yeah,
scale
the best in
wheel.
the business, man. Yeah. So I've been using his wheels, which are just to the T on the
Oh, yeah,
size
they're perfect.
and the width on those things. So
Yeah. The
I've
width
been
is
using
the
them
most important part. The width is like dead on.
dead on. You can't get no better than that. It's just dead on.
No.
And I'm glad they come in two pieces. Like you can take off the wheel and the wheel and the tire, because I did a '64 custom. I don't know if you've seen the one, the white one, the all
Yeah,
white,
yeah.
and I did the wheel kit and the spare wheel kit in the back. So I
Right.
took off the wheel, painted the wheel white, and then put it back onto the wheel, and then it looked like a wheel cover on the rear,
Hmm.
which is really cool.
Right.
Actually,
No, that did look good.
yeah. And then I got the '64. I'm probably gonna do the same thing, and I'm gonna do an all black one with gold wheels, and make a kit for it too. And then
Is it good?
I all
Are you
kinds of
gonna
ideas.
use the gold base? So for with the gold bumper and grill and
No, I
whatnot?
like to color the base, but keep the bumpers, because
Oh,
I
okay.
want, because when you to me, when you leave that gold base on, it kind of takes away the color of the wheels because it kind of
Right.
blends. So I,
It does.
color in between, and the wheels pop out further, or like the color pops out for me. Then you got the gold bumpers on each side, which is like iconic. You know
See,
what I mean?
I like the way you think because you have an eye. What it sounds like from what you're saying, you have an eye for style and what should and what probably does look good. most people, and this is not saying bad on people, but it is in a sense, most people don't have that eye. They don't see the thing that makes it look good. They just see it as a whole and go, oh yeah, that just looks good like it is. And it
Yeah,
doesn't. So
because
you have
when
to
you
have that
see,
eye for detail.
yeah, when you see tons of cars on regular car shows and you see what looks good, and some gold bases do look good on certain kind of wheels, but when you have an all black car, you want those wheels to just pop, and that's what you just
Right.
color the middle of it, and you got the side gold corners. It's insane. It just comes out.
Yeah. So are you using a special chassis to make them, articulate, or are you just making your own custom
I'm
hydraulic
actually
chassis?
using the wheel. You know how the Hot Wheels have the little edges right here, just to
Yeah.
protect the wheels from bending. I actually use that. I'll carve a little line in front, and I'll make one a little bit deeper on the other side, so it tilts that
Mm-hmm.
car sideways.
Yep.
That way, because
That works.
his wheels are really cool, but they're just a little fragile. And then they're
They
like,
are.
"Dick, make your wheels articulate so you can move them." I'm like, "No, I'm making pieces. I just want you to display and look good
Yeah.
because I don't want you messing around and
Right.
then having to drop it and chip that paint that took me hours to produce." You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in the model car world, they call it a static stance,
Yeah,
meaning it just sits the way you've glued it all together.
yeah. And
That's
with
pretty much what I do.
yeah,
Most of my
that's
cars are
cool.
like
That's
that.
cool. That's cool for you. I'm not down to the guys that want to touch their cars and play with them and stuff like that. But when I make them, I want you just like to look at them because that took a lot of hours, and
Right.
it's something you just don't want to, play with a little bit. You know what I mean? You just want to take it
Yeah.
out, show other people, have a case with it, and
And I
take
mean,
it
I
out.
come from the model car world. Like I've been building model cars for 30 years. And same thing, like you build that and you build it to sit the way it sits. It
You know?
doesn't roll. It's not an RC car. It
Yeah,
sits the way it sits. It's made to be displayed, and that's it. And that's how I treat my Hot Wheels too.
that's like how I treat my cars. I mean, a lot of wheels I make them move now because they're not
I mean,
uh,
yeah,
highly detailed. But the lowriders, when I go into it, it's 100% when I go into those lowriders. I do as
right.
much as I can for what I have. Yeah,
I mean, if you're gonna go all out with a model car lowrider and you're gonna get photo etched spokes, you're not rolling that thing. You're
yeah,
not gonna do it. I mean,
yeah.
it's amazing that it
You
even
ain't gonna be
stays up.
playing with it and all that stuff.
Right.
No, you're gonna be when you look at it. I want to see when they look at it. I want them to know they can't touch it. You know what I mean?
Right.
They know
Yeah.
they're not gonna touch it.
Right.
They're like, I can't touch this. That's insane. I'm not gonna play with this. I'm like, that's exactly what I want you to feel. Is that it's just a
Yeah.
display.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They should have the recording of MC Hammer's "You Can't Touch This" playing on
yeah.
every table.
Put that on like a little case on the side. Is a red button says "Can't touch this."
Right. Right.
That would be awesome. In fact,
Maybe
I'm
we
gonna have
get a 3D printed MC Hammer there and then a speaker beside him so it looks like he's singing "Can't Touch This."
it just pops out and it's just him
Right.
right next to the car.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
That'd be funny. So, how long you been a car guy? I mean, you said you went to car shows when you were young.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, was that the moment back then, that young, or did you just
I,
like them? They were cool,
I'd say
and then
about
you got into them later.
I got into it about 10, maybe 11 years old because my uncle used to race a dirt track back in Casa Grande in Arizona, the
Oh,
local
okay.
track, the local dirt track there. And he raced the Outlaws and the Dwarfs at the time. And we used to help him out in the pits, just a family thing. Watch him race. They pick me up from the shelter down the street and check him out and go to his shop, clean it up, do all the little minor repairs on the cars, put new tires on there, put new clutches in, drive lines. Just, I'm 10, 11 years old helping my uncle out,
So you've been a car guy your whole life, pretty much.
pretty much. I've seen cars,
That's awesome.
worked on them. Yeah. And then just getting to the whole lowrider scene was just another level into my chapter. And
Yeah.
he was into NASCAR. That's why my cousin and I, his son, that's why him and I used to be in NASCAR because my uncle was in NASCAR. He was a huge Dale Earnhardt Sr. Uh, I think he wore a number 3 hat for at least 15 years that I know of.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty roached by the time I saw it last time.
He was a mega fan then.
Oh, mega fan. Everything he
Unless
had.
that was his only hat he ever had.
Yeah. And as a kid, my cousin and I used to watch, I don't know if you know this series called Crash and Burn on VHS. It used to be a
Yeah.
series of 15 VHS, just cars just randomly crashing and
Yeah, yeah,
racing.
yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
Crash and Burn. We used to
I
watch
didn't
those all
see every
the time.
one of them, but I've seen at
Oh
least
yeah,
one or two of those.
he had the whole set, and like we got into monster trucks right after that because that's when Bigfoot was really then. And
Right.
to watch, remember Sergeant Slaughter and his platoon doing what is it? Rope pulls against Bigfoot back in the days.
Maybe.
That was huge.
I might remember that.
It was always a Sergeant Slaughter against Bigfoot and his platoon or something like that. Yeah, I was always into trucks and stuff, and even smaller lowrider S10s, the Nissans. Those started coming out, and then later was like the dancing beds. Remember the dancing beds?
Right.
Everybody thought that was just ludicrous, and that's crazy. Why would you do that? And then it just exploded after that.
Well, dude, that's making a comeback.
It's huge comeback.
The early '90s style is just so popular right now, out of the blue. Like it disappeared, and it just
overnight
came back with a bang.
Yeah, overnight.
Right.
There's some guy on TikTok. I was watching a video, and he's recording outside his window, and it's a dancing bed in front of a light, and the guy was blown like back in the days. Like, why would anybody do this? This is crazy. I never seen this before. Like,
right.
It was wild just to hear him say that. Some young kid.
Well, that's so funny you say that, because growing up on the West Coast, you had the birth of the rat rod, you had the birth of the hot rod, the classic car, the lowrider, and all this stuff. It's the car capital of the world. So I've seen it all. But I moved out here in 2008, and we didn't have donks out there on the West Coast. You had dubs. Dubs are different than donks.
Mm-hmm.
They're similar, but not the same. And most people, well, people that aren't car people have no clue the difference in those two terms. So you had dubs everywhere, but donks we didn't have. So I move out here to the East Coast, and they're everywhere. That's the thing. If you don't have a lifted truck and a hillbilly, you have a donk. And it just drove me crazy, because I don't understand the whole idea of lifting a box Chevy and putting 30-inch wheels on it. It just seems stupid to me. Although, with that bed dancing comment, he doesn't know why you would ever do this to a truck. Nobody would ever think putting 13-inch Hunter spokes on a full-size Chevy car would be cool, but it's hella cool.
It's hella cool, man. It's hella cool. I wouldn't think about putting 44s on my, 70 Chevelle and having it lifted. It's just different cultures,
It definitely is different. I don't get the donks, but hey, there are thousands of people out here that do get it. That's what they're into. So I can't knock it. As much as I don't care for it, I can't knock it. It's just a different part of the car culture.
Yeah, it's the same. It's a car thing. It's a custom thing. It's someone else's imagination.
Yeah.
It just all blends together. And the really cool thing, I think, even in the South right now, is the slabs. You seen the slabs?
You like those? I can't stand those.
It looks a little weird, but it looks wild. That's what it looks wild.
I mean, the car itself is fine. Just take them dumb wheels off of there. It looks like you're doing some James Bond stuff.
They look like blenders.
Yeah, I just look at it like you got James Bond style knockoffs that want to go out and tear up the side of your car with.
Yeah. I saw those and I was like, huh, that's another custom. But yeah, that's someone's imagination. I didn't knock it. I'm like, that's unique.
It's definitely unique. They do have their own style.
And the systems and the sound systems in those cars just back in the 90s was huge too. I don't know if you remember we used to have burp contests back in the day where you had like the best speaker companies like Rockford Fosgates and all these companies with their Astro vans.
Oh yeah. Those are the big vehicles to do it with.
Yeah, they used to be slammed to the ground and have like 100 speakers and 18s and 20s in there. And whoever can do the biggest and deepest burp to
Yep.
make everybody feel really cool. You know, you get that
I didn't know
vibration.
that's what it was called. I thought they were just called sound off competitions
We always call them burps, biggest burp
or bass
competition.
competitions. But
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah.
those are pretty cool. I like going to those ones too. Get to see like the
Heck
newest
yeah.
speakers coming out and
I
testing
mean,
them
if
out.
you can be 100 yards out and feel it still, that's a good system.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a couple here that it's pretty impressive in my area. They
Nice.
shake the windows, and I even go outside, and it just sounds still as clear as inside as outside, and you hear no
Yeah,
rattle. They knew what they were doing. You know, we have
that's
that system.
awesome.
You got to have the right equipment for that type of sound.
You definitely do, and the right vehicle because man, some of those vehicles sound like every single bolt and nut is unscrewing
It's
themselves as
about to
that
come,
bass is
yeah,
going.
it's about to come apart. Yes, you just want to knock on the window and say, "Hey, you might want to tighten every bolt in this thing before you."
Right. Exactly. Yeah, we had so being out here, this big car systems like that aren't that big of a thing, but I know on the West Coast they've always been a thing. It went along with low riding, it went along with mini trucks. It was a car thing for the
Yeah,
culture. And out here it is, but it's not emphasized enough. So my next door neighbor had a party where late night, one of his friends or relatives came over, had like a 300M slammed, and he had a really good bass because his bass was turned low and it vibrated my house next door like crazy. And the
yeah.
car was low. Like you heard the bass, and the bass wasn't loud at all, but it was so deep that it rattled my whole house. My daughter was like, "What is that? What is that?" We don't have car shows out here that dedicate themselves to like that kind of style.
Mhm.
So she didn't know what that was. And I said, "Oh, let's go out and see if we can sit in this car and see if your hair just go." And she goes, "No, no, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that." I'm like, "Oh, but it'd be so cool." But
Heck
yeah, that
yeah,
was the first time she really got a hint of like real deep bass.
yeah,
I
yeah.
grew up with that everywhere, but that was her first time.
And yeah, always. Still to this day, I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
And
Now, all I wish though, I wish our 3D printing companies not only can make those wheels for us, but they made a 3D printed sound system for like the back seat or for the trunk of the car for the 164th. Because I know they
yeah,
have it for 125th,
they have the
but the one,
164, the show truck. Hot Wheels
yeah,
make.
yeah, yeah. But I
You know,
need
talk about
somebody to 3D print different versions of that. So
yeah,
you can
yeah,
put it in any bed in any style. Well, not
mhm,
any style, but maybe like a handful of different styles.
yeah.
So you really have an emphasis that this is just not a lowrider, but it's got sound to it, even though you're never going to hear any noise out of it.
Got the beats. Yeah, yeah, definitely. That'd be sweet. On
But
the
see,
all right,
then
go ahead.
again, that's what I was talking about by music or bass, big speakers not being that influenced in car culture today like it was in the 90s,
Mhm.
because nobody's thinking about making speaker boxes and bass systems for our little cars. Like I said,
Yeah,
they do for 125th scale, but they don't do it for any other scale smaller
yeah,
than that.
true. Yeah, yeah. Let's do. Yeah, 118s would be nice. Doing a
Yeah.
63 right now would be really nice. You know, have the open
Well,
hook. You got your
look,
speakers, hydros.
if I can find the link, somebody's made actual small speakers. They probably look like 18-inch or 20-inch speakers in the back of a car that size, but they're real bass speakers. So you can
Oh,
hook them
really?
up to like a MP3 player and just it's I wouldn't say it's the clearest of all speakers because it's just a bass speaker, but the bass speaker is literally this small and it has a box and it'll fit in the trunk. I've seen people put them in pickup trucks of 124 scale,
Oh,
so they
okay.
put them in the bed of the pickup truck, like they'll lay it flat or whatever,
Hmm.
and you got a real sound system coming out of a model.
That's wild.
So if I
That's
can
really
find that link, I'll send that to you because if you're wanting a speaker that probably end up being like a 15-inch speaker in a 118 scale car, that really
yeah.
works.
That'd be pretty
I mean,
cool.
this guy makes them. I just got to
Yeah,
find the link for you.
yeah. And what brought me to like the paint jobs, what really set me off from different, like, you know, the writers had a lot of like crazy colors and like spectra flames and the glitter, fat glitters. But remember the trucking magazine when that came out, and
Hmm.
the imagination and the time of having
Oh yeah,
layered upon layered upon layered of paints to have something come out look like a spaceship or a
right.
neon.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Those trucking
No, I
magazines, I
know
had
exactly what you mean.
piles
They
of the
they did
retro.
it before Lowrider did it. Lowrider wasn't doing stuff like that.
Uh, no,
And
it was
then
trucking magazines.
yeah, they
Yeah,
figured out some wild space age type painting techniques, just layer different patterns on top of different patterns,
it
and
was
they pulled it off and mastered it. And
10,
then it looks
15
like,
layers. It looked like.
yeah. And then
Yeah,
Lowrider guys, they did it completely different in the sense of pattern style, but it's the same process of layering after layering after layering after layering.
yeah.
So
Trucking did that crazy space age zigzags and yellows,
yeah, the
greens.
tribal flames and then the cheetah flames and then the
Yeah, at
zebra
the
flames and
during that time, it was lowriders and more murals were on
yeah, right,
cars. You know,
right.
big, huge
Not
Aztec,
crazy
whatever,
outlandish paint jobs.
outlandish Aztec temples and all that stuff was going on.
Right.
And then it slowly started to bleed into the trucking, into the lowrider scene. And then they
Yeah.
combined murals with and fancy lines and the layers of paint. When I saw the trucking magazines, I'm like, this is insane. And I had to
Yeah.
find out what you guys are doing.
There's a guy, HW Customs, maybe on Instagram. Maybe I'm misspelling his name, but he's made decals of those 90s style mini truck paint jobs. And I asked him to print me some, and he said, "Oh yeah, I got you. Let me get this batch of cars done, and then I'll hit you up." He never did. It's like been 6, 7 months now, so I don't know
I
if he's
think
ever gonna get to him.
I have something right here that looks kind of similar. These ones are like the 83 pickup,
Yeah,
layered kind of like paints. And I'd throw these on
I've seen
Spectre
that guy
Frame
on
Blue.
eBay.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
purples. Yeah, I got all kinds of those.
I've
And
never
then
ordered anything from him, so I have to ask:
I'm
Are
not sure if
those
it's from him or I got those on eBay.
I'm wondering if those decals are on clear decal paper, or meaning it has to be painted on like a silver or a white or a very light base color, or if they're like model car decals where they're blacked out on the back of it, so you can put it on any color and it
Yeah,
still be just as vibrant. I've
yeah.
never bought from him, so I don't know if his
Oh,
decals are like that or
these
not.
ones are. I think the green ones are kind of transparent. And then what I do is I do a Spectre Frame green on the car, and then I
Yeah,
put
yeah,
a.
yeah,
And then I don't know if you've seen the 83 I did with the yellow top. And
yeah.
then I put that decal on there and it separated the green and that yellow, but it still blended in together. You couldn't see the line in between, and
Oh,
I thought
nice.
that was really clean. I'm like, wow, because you couldn't see the separation; they just blended in.
Yeah, that's
I put
cool.
those, I put those white wall with gold wheels on there. It's just when I took it to the convention a couple of months ago, it was gone. I
Oh, you
put it
went to
right.
that Hot Wheels convention?
Yeah, I had my first
Man,
booth there,
that's
and
awesome. I'd never been to that Hot Wheels convention. The whole time I've been out in California, I never even knew that was a convention until I
there's
moved out here. And I was like, I was right there. It was in my backyard.
yeah, Kevin Rouse is the one that had it all posted and took care of it. It was fantastic. I took my wife for the first time because she knew people were into Hot Wheels and stuff like that and
Mm,
custom. When she went there, she had no idea how many people were doing this and generally just
right.
in cars. And then she
Yeah.
found out how many people are interested just in customs.
Right.
And
Right.
then I think maybe there was 1,200 people that showed up that day. I mean, there
For the
was lines.
custom show?
Yeah, just for the Hot Wheel convention, and there was
Oh,
only
okay.
10,
Okay.
15 tables there, in this little um, what's this the veterans hall or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Lines across. There's a whole car show in the parking lot. I couldn't get a hold of. I mean, go outside and take a look because I was just too busy in my own booth. But there was a lines across the block just to get in. It took a long time for these people to get in because they had to wait. Let
Right.
20 people in, let 20 people out. It just took, I think, like a good 6 hours of just constantly. And then they saw my customs and they were just gone. And then whatever I had was selling like crazy because there were a lot of my cars are mostly 90s, early 2000s, and then whatever I picked I thought was cool that I
Yeah.
kept. I'm
Right.
like,
Right.
I'm gonna see what if they like the same thing. When I brought my cars, it went like wildfire. It went pretty fast. And a lot of other
That's
guys
awesome.
had like the new stuff, like the new JDMs, like
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
Chambers, and then all the newer stuff. And a lot of people are like, "Man, you got some like early '90s stuff when I grew up, and all this stuff." I'm like, "Yeah, it's still in packaging. It's still, I found these
Right.
in antique stores, and I went
Yeah,
up there and
right, right.
did all these hundreds of antique stores to find this stuff, because I thought it was cool." And there's a guy in the corner doing like hundreds of red lines. There was, incredible red lines over there. I just didn't have the feria for it. You know what I mean? I didn't have the
I
money for
mean,
the red lines.
you got somebody that knows how to do it, knows how to do it right. They're not gonna ask for a cheap price. They're gonna be up there.
Yeah, you got to go with some money when you do the red line.
Yeah,
Especially
that's
for the guys
awesome.
that want the sweet 16s. They want that
Oh
that
shoot,
you
those are the
know
most expensive.
the most expensive, but they want that
Yeah,
collection. They need that collection.
right. I don't
They're
need
looking
that
for the.
collection.
I don't need that collection either. I'm quite okay with that. But
In
I do.
fact, it's funny. Like my favorite Hot Wheel line of all time is the 100% line because
Mm,
those are the more accurate looking Hot Wheels that Hot Wheels ever made. And
yeah.
you got the main line and every other line other than the main or other than the 100% line, and they all just look like toys. And the 100% line look like actual cars with great detail.
Kind of like Matchbox has that same realistic uh
Yeah,
shape to them, like you can see them on the streets and stuff.
right. And when I started customizing Hot Wheels, before the lowrider craze pretty much happened with the Hot Wheels, I was taking 100% and I was just bashing them and taking all the parts off of them and making customs out of them,
Oh,
taking the
really?
wheels off of 10, 15, $20 cars just for the wheels or just for, this or that. And I still do that today. Like if I'm going to build a certain car the way I want it to look and I need a certain thing, I'll buy however much that car costs for that one part on it. And
Like, yeah, exactly. Because I know I painted the car, it's already
yeah,
done, but I'm looking for the wheels, and I find
right.
it's a $30 car. I just
Yeah,
want the
yeah.
wheels. That's all I
Or I
want is
mean,
the wheels.
or an engine. I mean, the 100% almost always had lifted hoods with a pretty uh mostly detailed engine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so you could just buy that car, pop the engine out, and boom, you got yourself an engine for a hot rod or a custom or something.
Yeah,
And
I
this
like
is
the.
all before 3D printing, so
Yeah, definitely. Uh, when I go antique stores, and all of my red lines I found actually in the wild, like in the back of the room, on top of a shelf. We're
oh
talking about
nice.
like $5, $10 for a red line.
Yeah,
I think I have maybe less than 20, but they're all without. I mean, they're all found in antique stores. And
that's cool.
I found a lot of lowriders, like the Revels. I think it's the Revels.
Yeah.
Yeah, those ones I found a few of those for like $3 to $4,
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
some were missing wheels, some were missing something, but they had the
Yeah,
suspension
yeah.
X
Right.
out, and that's all I needed. I mean, that don't matter to me. I can get some wheels, or I can do something
Right.
else with
Yeah,
it,
exactly.
or garage sales. I'm obsessed with garage sales coming here in the summertime. That's all I do. I hunt for cars, or I hunt for a good deal. Um,
Nice.
yeah, I like finding stuff. Um, Antique stores, garage sales. I'm not much of an eBay unless I really can't find it, especially decals and stuff like that. I just can't
Right.
find go to a eBay stuff like that. But I'm
Yeah,
out
I
there
do
hunting.
most of my hunting on eBay only because North Carolina, it's a weird state. It doesn't have much for uh hobbies out here. Like, I don't know why you think it would, like anywhere else, but the hobby world out here is very small. I mean, there are a lot of collectors, there's not a lot of customizers. So you can find collections all over the place or Hot Wheel clubs that have collectors, but I mean, the collectors know what these cars are worth.
Yeah,
So everybody's already got them stored away and stashed. They're not, ready to try to get rid of them for nothing.
yeah,
Antique stores, they don't really truly know and they don't probably even care because it's such a small item. It's a small money item compared to maybe furniture or something.
yeah.
So they'll let small things go for little money compared to big things. when collectors, they'll
Yeah.
let the smallest thing go for the most expensive.
Yeah, that's wild. I went to a antique store here in actually in Oregon, and he had tons of stuff. It wasn't really car related, but he had tons of stuff. And he would tell me back in the East, that's where he's from. He just bought the store back here on the West Coast. He said there's like warehouses of these antique stores out there. They're just
Oh,
so huge
yeah,
that
there really is.
they're really big. He said there's some of them that you can rent a golf cart, and go
Right.
through these warehouses. I'm like, a golf cart to go through a warehouse of antiques. He goes, oh yeah, there's
Yeah.
a few of them out there. I'm like, that's amazing.
Yeah, well, you got to think the Industrial Revolution happened on the East Coast, and people just kept that stuff. That stuff was meant to last forever.
Yeah,
So it's not going to degrade or rust out and turn into dust. It's going to stay out here and just stay in somebody's yard or somebody's barn for the
we're
rest of its
still
life.
still using it.
Yeah, yeah, literally. Hey, remember that 8 o'clock thing? You mind holding on 1 second?
Yeah, gotcha.
All right, I'm gonna pause this. So, yeah, the hobby shop or the antique shops out here, they have some really big ones. Like if you watch that American Picker show, I mean, some of those places out here are just enormous. But at the
Enormous.
same time, those I would consider those to be real antique shops, like authentic antique stuff. It's not like modern, say 80s, 90s style antiques that you might find diecast cars in. Those are the diecast cars from the 40s and 50s in those shops.
Yeah, actual, steel wheels and
Right.
weigh like 2 pounds. And yeah, exactly. I like that show. That was a cool show. I've always liked that show to see what other
Yeah,
stuff out there.
it is really neat. It's just the simple fact of the amount of people they come across that just hoard antique stuff.
Yes,
And they're
yes.
always like you don't know any of these people, but they're all around you and you don't know.
Passing every day on the freeway. They're
Yeah,
just right.
exactly.
Holding.
Yeah,
They have no
if
idea
they
what they
got a
have, but they have it.
right, if they got a fence up in their yard, like a gate where you can't see behind it, there's probably a ton of crap back there that you don't even know about.
You just want to knock on the door and say, "All right, what do you got today? What do you?"
Exactly. Especially to like a car hoarder. You just want to
Yeah.
go to that car yard and go like, oh man, I got a couple $1,000. Let me know what you got.
Or can I just take some pictures? I just want to take some pictures of these cars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all. I like taking photos of like nature taking its course and just taking a car
Oh
and just
yeah.
taking it back. You know what I mean? I
Well, I
like that.
will tell you, out there on the West Coast, it's much nicer to watch nature take care of those cars because they still look like cars.
Yeah.
Out here, there's so much moisture and humidity in the air. Cars look like 100, 400-year old steel that's been
You guys
eaten
got that.
away.
You guys use that salt on the ground too. That
Oh, we love that salt. Yes.
yeah, yeah. I think we use sand out here. We're not much on salt out here because I'm in the mountains. I'm like,
Yeah.
barely in the valley. Yeah. So I think we use a little bit of the salt, and not
Well,
salt, but
most
sand.
of Washington is mountain-esque. You
Yeah,
got
it's
hills and yeah.
yeah, we're surrounded by mountains, and my Mount St. Helens is, I could see it on the hill. It's about 50 miles from here, so you can see it
Oh,
from you go up the hill a little bit. Yeah,
so
I'm
you're
not.
pretty safe from it blowing up next time.
Oh no, probably not. 50 miles is pretty far, but when you look at it, it looks like it's 10. You know what I mean?
We're true, true. Yeah, so there's a shop out here. I don't know if they've reached the West Coast called Roses. It's like a pick and save or a dollar. Well, no, I wouldn't say dollar store. It's like a pick and save or a really cheap, crappy store with just
Yeah.
junk in it. And I knew they had a toy section, so I'd always be hunting for Hot Wheels or whatever. They end up getting stockpiles of these Revels back in 2008, 2009, maybe
Uh,
2010. And they were going for $5 a piece. And I'm thinking, I'll wait till they go on sale because I didn't even want to pay $5 for them.
oh
And
my!
they never went on sale, and then they disappeared altogether. I'm like,
Someone just took the
dang it.
whole box and just left.
Right. Well, see, that was hindsight that nobody has because $5 was, I think was it the same exact price as they were selling in like KB toy stores or wherever they were selling, like Toys R Us's at the time when they were brand new. So I was like, I'm not paying full price for this. I'll wait till it goes on sale. It never did, and they just disappeared.
I'm not gonna pay full price. That's a joke. That's crazy.
And now you can't buy one less than 30 bucks.
Yeah, that's crazy. And that's carded, and that's even loose is 15, 20. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
I remember it was
I
one
mean,
time.
those,
Yeah,
I was gonna say those bombs that don't have no movable suspension. You're just buying them for the wheels. That's it. They're like 20, 30 bucks.
yeah, yeah. I did a Fleetwood. I think it was a Fleetwood Hot Wheel. Um, and then my very first kind of like suspension wise, what I was gonna do, what I was gonna do, either pancake style or side to side, and it looked. I just put the classic drop the ass on it and just kept the front up. It just
Mm-hmm.
looks so clean. I didn't do the paint job. I didn't do nothing because they already had that nice black on there with the
Yeah, right.
silver accents on there. And I threw some gold wheels on there and just dropped the ass and tucked in the wheels a little bit. And I'm like, that's it. Close the cap on there, and I sold that thing.
Nice.
When somebody else saw it, and I'm like, they're like, "What'd you do to him?" Like, what you see is what you see. I dropped a little.
Right.
They're
Not
like,
gonna
"Oh,
give all away my secrets. And he didn't do nothing to
I did nothing to it. It's all yours."
it. Right. But they don't know that, so hey.
Yeah,
No, sometimes just a simple wheel swap because the paint is already good is
it's
all the
all
car
great.
needs.
It's all there.
Yeah,
Even Hot Wheels does great paint jobs. I
they
don't want to mess.
really do.
I just found this one. I don't know what this one back in my box here in the back, but this paint job on this thing is it's a two tone. You got the sparkles on the top, and you got a flat color, multicolor on the hood, and it's just throw some wheels on there, and this thing is insane. You know what I
Right.
mean?
That's an easy street machine. Easy.
Easy,
Or it could
easy.
be a lowrider too, but
Yeah, it's
yeah,
already slammed.
right.
But some of
Yeah, you just
these
put like
colors
19s or 20s on the front and 21s on the back, done.
yeah, it's just done. You know what I mean? So whoever's designing these kind of cars, the muscle car era with that paint job, I think it was like I don't know what year this thing is, but it had to be like mid 2000s, early 2000s. They were on it. They knew exactly what was going on at that time. And
Yeah.
if I see some more cars like this, I'm not changing it. I'm just going to
Right.
keep it because that's crazy color.
Yeah.
You don't see colors two tones like this, like that anymore.
Well, look
That's
at
why
that 55. Look at that 55 gasser that they did and all the multiple different kind of paint jobs they've been putting on that gasser. I mean,
yeah,
it's half of those paint jobs are period correct for the 70s and 80s style gasser wars
yeah,
that they were going with the patterns and the all the different wild paint jobs and stuff they were doing on those cars. They're doing a good job. I would say within the last 20 years, they've finally been doing a really good job on nifty, really exciting looking paint jobs.
yeah, definitely.
Now, I
Whoever's
will
doing
say about 75% of their cars are junk, but the other 25% are just banging.
yeah, I think the person who's just doing those 25% knows know exactly what they're doing. Like, okay,
Yeah,
guys,
right.
at the meeting, they're like, okay, guys, you guys are doing really good, but I know what's going on in the world.
Yeah. And the problem is there's five of those designers and four of them want that crap. And the one says, no, no,
Yeah,
no, we want to have the good stuff. And he's getting outvoted every time.
and he pops out that little thing. Shh, let's look at the numbers real fast because yours are not selling right here.
Right. Right. Nobody wants
I
a
just-
cartoon piece of junk that nobody even knows what it
yeah,
is.
nobody knows what the heck is going on. Yeah, I'd love to sit in those meetings, bro. Just listen to them, like who's fighting, who's battling, the colors and the designs and stuff, and that'd be
It
really
is
cool.
crazy because if you look, like, you're a lowrider guy, so you've obviously seen the different versions of the 58 Impala from different companies. Like the M2 Impala looks like it's bowing in the middle. The
Yeah,
front nose is too low, the back nose or end is too low. And then Hot Wheels did a decent, I'd say, a decent job on a 58 Impala. I mean, it's all
it
molded
was.
in. There's really no detail to it
Yeah,
except for a paint job. Um, and then is Johnny Lightning makes a 58. They make a decent 58. It looks like it's same body is Hot Wheels, but Hot Wheels put that Continental kit with that fifth wheel in the back, and Johnny Lightning didn't. And I
Yeah.
think theirs is a little better because they have the open hood. But you
Mhm.
just look at the different car companies making the same exact car, and you think, why aren't you just all perfecting the casting and building the best version of that? Why are you making crap?
Yeah. Well, I think they're kind of in a rush to get these cars
Yeah,
out because they're trying to get as much as they can. Why the that car is famous or very
right.
famous, like the 510s and the Bluebirds and all that stuff. They're just
Yeah,
pumping things out as fast as they
right.
can. They ride that wave as long as they can.
Well, it's like if you look at the 64 Impala, Hot Wheels has got a pretty decent 64 Impala with skirts. It's a decent
Yeah.
casting. And then you got Johnny Lightning that's made Johnny Lightning? I think Johnny Lightning made a 64 Impala. Yeah, Johnny Lightning made a 64 Impala that doesn't look that great in my opinion. And then
Mhm.
Greenlight's now got their 64 Impala that's pretty decent. It's almost the best casting out there, if not the best casting. And
I
then
think it's
Racing
racing champ.
Champions made a 64 Impala with the hood and the trunk that opens.
Yeah.
So
Revell
it
made the
just,
same thing with the trunk with the hydros in there in
oh
the
yeah,
back.
yeah. Revell was the best company, and then
Yeah.
Greenlight like perfected the whole 64 Impala.
Yeah.
Now, if they could just get the trunk to open, that'd be great.
Yeah, like Revels. I like Revels because it had the batteries and the pumps in the
Yeah,
back.
yeah,
All you had to do
right.
is repaint those, and it was open the hood. I sold a gray one with the decals on the side and put some gold wheels on there, and just opening the hood would just set it off. It's just
Right, yeah.
it was even
Well,
without
here's the crazy thing about Revell. I don't know who designed the 64 compared to the 63 Impala. 63 Impala trunk lid is perfect. It's got the rear four sets of lights on the back with that back panel that shaped like an L and it opens up. 64 Impala trunk is just a flat cover like a hood. It
yeah
doesn't have the rear like it's
that real
supposed to, like
curl.
the L
Yeah,
shape.
that real
And you
curl.
thought, which one came out first? Did the 64 come out first and they said, oops, we screwed up, and then they perfected it with the 63? Or did they just not care?
Probably not care. Or the materials. They just cut that lip off and saved them, I don't know, thousands
True.
of dollars. You know what I mean?
Probably. Yeah.
And the casting
Probably.
machine would have been hurting or struggling to get that casting dipped in there.
Yeah.
They just cut it off, slap it in there, and get it out of here type thing.
Right. I mean, it's still cool. And most people that aren't car people or aren't Impala people don't know the difference. They don't know it's
Yeah.
not supposed to look that way, anyways.
They're like, oh, it's flat. And I'm like, no, it's not.
Right. Yeah.
It's
There's
not a
something
hood.
missing off the edge of
It's
this
not
end.
a hood. It's an actual curled end, and it looks really nice, and it
Yeah.
closes right mid lights, and it's perfect. It's awesome.
Right. Yeah. Well, the cool thing is I took apart several of those green lights, and if you're a skilled cutter, you can cut that truck open pretty easy. It's just like the Hot Wheels trunk. If you know how to cut it open, you can cut it open pretty easy.
Mhm.
Unlike the M2, no, yeah, M2. Unlike the M2 Impalas, those bumpers are molded into the back of the
Yeah,
car.
yeah,
So you got to cut the bumper off, then cut the hood open.
yeah,
Or unless you take the jeweler's tool and drill a little hole in it and then cut it out, but that's even harder.
yeah. Even the jeweler saw. I'm still going. I think I might do something different, like start doing the hoods and the trunk and stuff. But that's later down
Yeah,
the line. Yeah, I got to find the right parts, and then the like I said, the speakers. I got to find the speakers, or see if somebody sells like the pumps, and I just
right.
want to up my lowriders. I just want to paint jobs
Well,
are great, wheels are great, but when you put something else into it, a little more detail into it, like
yeah.
putting the pumps and putting a chromed out engine, which would be really awesome.
Did you see my 62 Impala I built?
No,
I mean, I've only posted a million times everywhere, but let me show you because it's got pumps and batteries in the trunk. What did I do with it? And they're 3D printed pumps and batteries. And I can send you the link to the guy that oh, it's over here. I'll send you the link to the guy that makes those. So this is a M2 62 Impala. And if you look at the back, if
Oh
I
yeah,
can shine the light on it,
yeah. I see the
it's
pumps in
got
there.
and the batteries are underneath the corners.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's
So
nice.
yeah, and it's just 3D printed, and he sells uh a plate, like a plate of them that has enough for 2 cars. Or you could probably put 3 cars if you just put 2 pumps per car.
Yeah,
But I'll send you that link because he
yeah.
makes that stuff, and they're I think they're like $9 for
Really.
2 to 3 cars, depending on how many you want to make out of them. And then he
Yeah.
actually makes them. He makes the hydraulic uh, suspension and then an air ride system too. So he's got the air pumps and the compressors too.
that's that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I haven't used those yet, but I am planning on using those.
Just to have a car just drop.
Yeah, but yeah, I use that jeweler's tool for this car. I cut this car all open. So it looks
Jeez.
like local 64, but as a 62 Impala. And then the engine, which I don't think you can see the engine all that well, but the engine is a
Yeah.
100% twin turbo engine. And then even the doors open.
Ooh, man. That's some work. That's beautiful right there. The paint too. It just goes together.
Yeah. And then I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. Oh, but yeah, you probably won't be able to see it. It's got photo etch spokes in it.
Oh, nice.
It's the world's first photo etch spokes for this scale. And it's going to be the only photo etch spokes because I can't afford to make them anymore.
Hey, at least it's in the car that's well built. You know what I mean? It's not some on a
Yeah.
plane
Yeah,
to
but
give.
so it's got photo etch spokes and photo etch knockoffs, and they're the one of one. Now, you heard of Jerry's Wheels, guy that makes True 13, or the first person to make True 13s for model cars?
No, Jerry's wheels.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so the guy that made these tested them out, and he wasn't going to originally give them to me, but he was doing a lot of photo etch parts for 125th scale cars, and he just out of the blue said, let me he didn't even have a scale, a dimension to go off of for a photo etch spoke for this size car. So he just eyeballed it and made these rings with slits in them to make spokes. And he had like 4 sets. And I said, dude, what are you doing with these? Because you've had these for a while and you're not doing anything with them. Why don't you give them to me? I've got the perfect car to put them on, and whatever. A couple months later, he finally gives me 1 set. Well, he gives Jerry's wheels the other 3 sets, and he hasn't done nothing with them. I can do something with them now. And
Yeah.
he's got 3 sets, and I've got 1 set, and Jerry hasn't done nothing with his photo etch wheels. So
Oh,
for right now, these are the only ones in existence.
oh man. Those are nice wheels, and the car is just amazing. The work you did in that, the hood that pops, and then
Yeah.
the doors, the back
Well,
trunk.
Local 64 is my all-time favorite lowrider in the world, and it'll always be. There's no better lowrider, even though there's plenty of better lowriders out there by now. But in my opinion, that's by far none the best lowrider ever made, or
Yeah.
best looking lowrider. So I wanted to mimic that, and M2 at the time didn't make a 64 Impala, but they made a 62. So I said, screw it.
Screw it.
I'll do it with a 62. And then I made a convertible. I mean, this was actually already a convertible. I didn't make it a convertible. It was just already the convertible version. And that allowed you to cut the doors open so much easier.
I should put like a little, like the old school, and put mirrors underneath the car and put a little turntable on
I
the, and
I
little.
do have I took a solar turntable, one that works
Yeah.
off of lights. I took that all apart and did make a base for it. But the base is so overly done that it takes away from the cars that don't show it on there.
Yeah,
I
that can't be done.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what I was doing with that base, but it kind of went too far, and now I don't like it.
At least you tried it though. You tried it.
Yeah.
My next my next thing I'll be doing is a design my own card to put my customs on, like an
Oh,
actual
okay.
Hot Wheel
Nice.
card design.
That's cool.
I see a lot of cards out there that have their a lot of things are going on the card. It takes away
Hmm.
your custom. You know,
Yeah,
if
it's
your
pretty.
card is it's the same exact kind of color scheme as your hot or your
Yeah, it's
custom,
gonna hide.
it's gonna
Yeah,
hide and blend in. And I
right.
think I'm making it simple. It's gonna just be black, and I'll do the Salazar customs. It'll be different writing, and I'll have my logo in the front. But I just want you to look at the custom. You know what I mean? I just want you
Right, right,
to
right.
look at
Unless
there.
maybe, and this is just a maybe, you'd have to test it out. If you did the car all, crazy, whatever, and then where the car sits on the card from that point on down, maybe you just blacked it out or mellow color. So you have a crazy design on top where the and then where the blister starts down.
Oh yeah, where it
It's
just separates.
maybe, yeah,
Yeah,
maybe it might work that way. That
yeah,
way
and then
it's
the
like a
back.
true tone card, but
Yeah,
you still get, I don't know. Maybe that won't work at all. I don't know.
I'll try it.
Just an
I'm
idea.
gonna do all kinds of ideas. I got Kevin doing some things for me too, and in the back when having an appreciation, thank you for my customs, you purchasing, and all of the work that goes into it, and all that stuff. In the
Yeah.
back, I'm gonna have it below like a little uh, blank white spot where I'm gonna sign it and then number it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it'd be more personal. Like it's not gonna be, like say this is like one of one. I'm not gonna make this
Right.
color again, and then you just need to appreciate like, hey, Vic's not gonna make this custom ever again. You know, and just have that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then
that's cool. That's kind of how I like building. I don't like building the same car in 1/64 scale over and over and over again. Unless I get commissioned to build something that I'm gonna actually charge way too much for, so
yeah,
I don't have to build it. And if you agree to that ridiculous price, well, then I'll build another one.
I will build one more. I
But
don't
I
think
don't want to build it. I just will if you pay me to.
if you pay me this, I will build it.
Yes.
Yeah, most of my customs are not the same. Every color is different. I've not built. Let's see if you can see him here. I'm not sure if you can see him.
So
Uh,
if you're using your phone at the top right or top left, there's a camera with the little circle in the middle. If you tap your screen,
I don't
or it
really want to
should
mess
be.
with that. But
And
I'll bring one right here. This one. Let me show you this Honda that I did, but it's kind of more of a lowrider type thing. But the paint job I did Spectre frame green, and then I carved in ghost flames underneath the metal, so you can see when you turn the hood, you can see the different ghost flames as they move
and you carve that into the metal of the hood.
into the metal. So what you do is you can do it on Lowriders. My next one's gonna be on this one, the '59 Impala. I'm gonna do a lowrider on this one. It's gonna be Spectre Flame red, but what I'm gonna do, kind of like the same idea, is polish it to a chrome, not all the way because I don't want it to be crazy like a red. I want like a deep red. What I'll do is I'll take a carver like like a tool like a circle bit, like a little where's the camera at?
Mm-hmm.
Like a little circle bit, and I'm gonna tape all the way around these stripes all the way around, and I'll follow that stripe with that tool, and I'll do zigzags all the way down it continuously, very lightly. You don't want to dig into the model, and
Right.
then you do that multiple times, and then what you do is you paint that Spectre Flame color on top, and then whatever you didn't really bright up will kind of stay dark, and then whatever you did with the lights or the lines that dug in a little bit is going to pop
Oh,
through that paint, and then when you move it, it's going to have that ghost effect to it.
that's awesome.
That's
I'm
my
gonna
next.
love to see that.
That's going to be my next chore. It
Dude, I
looked
hope
really
that
well.
pulls off perfect.
The Honda was
I love the
freaking.
idea.
I don't know if you see this. This needs. I don't know. Yeah, in the sunlight, it explodes off the hood.
That's such a neat idea. I mean, most people right now are just painting it like a model car, like a real car. You're just masking it, back masking it,
Mhm.
layering it, back masking it, and layering it. They're not really you're taking the engraving of real cars and doing it to our small cars.
Very small cars. Yeah,
Without engraving it, you're engraving it.
yeah. Without digging, I'm just
Right.
touching, just very
Yeah.
slightly.
That's such a neat idea. I've never heard of anybody doing that. And I don't think I've seen anybody do that.
Yeah,
So
when I
you,
did the Honda, they're like, "Holy crap! How'd you do that? And is that decals?" I'm like, "No, that's actually etched into the metal." They're like, "You got to show me. You got to show me how you did it." I'm like, and then I went on Messenger and I, step by step and told them how to do it and stuff.
because there's an actual tool that you can get from Harbor Freight that is an engraving tool that you don't have to use as an engraver, like what you're saying, do exactly what you're doing, and it's got a pin
Yeah, I got
tip
this one right
point
here.
to it.
These are my little fine. I just found these at Harbor Freight. These little
Yeah,
pin
but
filers.
but those are for like Dremels though, right?
Yeah,
So
Dremels. That's what I
this
use.
thing, this thing goes up and down like a
Okay.
tattoo gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like a million up and downs per second, like so you can literally draw out your design or whatever lightly. I mean, I think that engraving tool, like if you buy a cheap one, I have a cheap one. I don't even know where I got it from. I just had it forever. Probably
Oh
like
yeah.
$9 because it's a cheap plastic piece of junk tool that's not really for heavy duty use. It's just maybe to indent wood or plastic or something.
Mhm.
So if you're using it for a metal body, you just want that light touch to it.
Yeah.
You can probably get away with looking at that from like Harbor Freight and seeing if that will might be the next step to your engraving,
No,
non-engraving.
engraving, but not engraving. Official, but unofficial. But this one, I did a GT 500 as well. A Spectre Flame Red, but I kept, that when you get it down to the metal, it's just this metal, that part,
Yeah, yeah,
it's just
yeah.
brand.
And
Yeah.
then you got to
Yeah.
polish it to make it pretty.
Yeah. I just left it metal, but I, did that ghost flame underneath it pretty heavily in the hood, the fenders, and then some of the top and around the doors. And then I polished just where the flames are at to the chrome. And then I just dug a little bit more and then I painted over it. And that thing was, I might have to do that again because it just popped a little bit more for how many times I went through it and polished it. And it kept that dark red in the rear. It was insane. I put the wheels were chrome, and I also painted those Spectre Flame red, so kind of like it looked uh what is it called? Uh, like a custom mod, or uh muscle car that looked modified
Oh
off
yeah,
of.
yeah, yeah.
But I did the suspension too. I dropped it in the front and the rear because how Hot Wheels have their they're like raked
Right,
high
right, right.
on most muscle cars. So I dropped the front a little bit and I dropped the rear even further so it was completely level and the rear tires were tucked in. It just had that that clean flush look to it on most cars that I love that
That's cool.
stance. And a lot of these JDMs, a lot of guys are like, oh, I need to put the kilter on there, a Kimber, and the tires, wagged out and stuff. I
That's
grew up
another thing I don't understand.
I grew I grew up when the tires to me were flush with the
Yes,
fenders and just dropped and just looked clean on the ground. Like there
right.
was no
And the body
camber
laid on top of
right
the
on top
wheels.
of yeah,
It
and
tucked
it
them
went
in
straight down.
perfectly.
It was just
Yes.
that was and it still
Yeah,
rolled and
me
still did
too.
its thing. It was clean. But these kids today are just with the I don't know. I don't know what that
The
is.
camber is so stupid. You're driving on like an inch worth of rubber with no tread.
I don't get it. I know that the kids love
But
it, and
it's another part of the
it,
car culture
it's
that
another custom. You can't get
yeah,
mad, but it's just unique. It's unique. You
you
know.
you can you can't get mad, but you can definitely be dumbfounded when
Yeah.
you see them trying to go into a driveway that has like
Speed
a
bump.
pebble in it, and then they bottom out and
Yeah.
they're like teeter tottering because they can't move.
And then you go by your friends, and he has an '03 Tahoe slammed to the ground, and he goes right over the speed bump. You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
same kind of concept,
Right.
much better looking to me, anyways.
Well, dude, like the last few years, maybe 3, 4 years, maybe 3 years, we had this new movement with these big old pickup trucks called that Carolina Squat.
Yeah, seen those.
So stupid. Like I get it for a lowrider. You have it can only be done with a lowrider though. You can't do it with any other vehicle.
Especially when you got an 8-inch lift in the front and a 0 lift in the rear. Just, you
Right.
got 44 wheels. I don't get it.
No, it's the dumbest thing.
It's a dog taking a squat and it's taking a piss. That's what it's just.
And you know what? I can't even consider that part of the car culture. I consider that part of an 18 to maybe 25-year-old stupid culture.
Yeah, they just don't get it yet. They're not there yet.
Right.
They're confused. Like most of the society.
They have an idea to customize the car. They just don't know how to do it the right way.
Do it. Yeah, they can't make up their mind. They want a 4-wheel drive. They want a slam truck. They're like, I just have both. I guess. I don't know.
Right. Now, but then again, with a lowrider, I understand it. And there's a purpose for it. You're doing it for a reason. Probably to lay sparks. I'm hoping that's why you're doing it. But that truck is never going to lay sparks. So.
Not going to lay anything. You know what I mean?
No, it's not.
Yeah, I remember the sparks. I love the sparks when the lowriders drop the ass and you see.
Oh yeah.
Come out there. I'm like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen, man.
It really is. Next to a flamethrower kit on like a custom rat rod. Yeah. Next to that, laying sparks is the next best thing.
Next best thing, man. Yeah. I think they used to do that with steel blocks underneath the chassis on the diff.
Yeah. That way you don't ruin the bumper or the frame. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's right on the pumpkin.
Yeah, they call them scrape plates or scrape. Yeah, scrape plates. And some of them are specialized metal in order to lay more sparks. Like they were sparkly bricks or something. I don't know that they would put on the frame.
I don't like when you light a match, that kind of metal.
Yeah. Right.
I think it's that type of metal. Yeah.
It's cool when you got 2 rows of sparkles just coming from the rear end of the car.
Yeah, and your paint job doing the same thing your paint job is doing the same kind of sparkle with the candies, and you got sparks out the rear end. And like,
I mean, one of the most famous YouTube videos of that is, I think, like a 90s video of maybe a full-size Lincoln from the 70s, just laying the front end down, and he's just dragging it with the sparks all underneath the car.
Yeah, I made a Lincoln 63 Lincoln Continental, platinum silver, and then I threw on John Zayer's wheels, the 20s, 150 silvers, and I tucked those things in there, man. It looks solid, man, so solid. And then I took
it's crazy to think a Lincoln like that, or any full-size car from the 60s and 70s, like it has to be a full-size car like that Lincoln, was meant to have bigger wheels, like a 20-inch wheel.
20-inch wheels. For some reason, it was meant to have 20-inch. When you have
really
a wheel that big, you got to have something that fills it in.
Right, because you look at a stock Lincoln, and you look at it and you're like, oh, that's a nice car, but it needs something else.
Hey, you got a really big wheel well. Something's not fitting here,
Right. Yeah, I think those Detroit steel wheels, and they used to have that Detroit steel wheel TV show on Velocity or something. They were really pioneering that big, solid, smoothie type wheel, and creating this new culture of 22-inch tucked wheels on a full-size car.
Deep dish, the 20-inch deep dish. We're 8-inch, 10 inches deep. You know what I mean?
Right.
Insane. Look like what are those muscle cars?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, like a drag racing car with the big balloon tires in the back, but the axle is only this big in the back because the tires.
Yeah, the big time muscles. They look exactly like that. The big time muscle on 18 scales look exactly like that. I think that's what people are mostly going for, is that kind of style, which is really cool. I like that style. You got a beautiful paint job.
if you get the rim right, and then you just, instead of filling it with tire, you fill it with a rim. I mean, if you figure that out, which they did, I mean, that is the next best thing, because you still
Yeah,
have the power, but you have attitude instead of, I guess muscle cars have attitude. They just have a different kind of attitude.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe the muscle car is brute attitude, and the dubbed deep dish car is style attitude. I don't know. You still have the muscle, but you have style behind it.
I think I really like because I have an '03 Tahoe and I got 20s on it, but for some reason I like to get like the um, gold 20s, 300 spoke, the solid gold ones. I don't know.
Wow.
I think Roadster makes them, used to make them, or some LA makes them, but they're a 20-inch rim, 300 spoke, and you got that the 3-star in the middle. It just looks amazing. And I saw them on
I've
sale
seen
for
it.
like
It does look amazing. You know what else it does? It looks expensive.
it looks like I need a detail every other day is what it looks like. Especially up
I mean,
here
if
when
you're
it
gonna have
rains,
something that gold, you better keep it gold.
keep it gold. Yeah, they got some special paint where you can put actually I have it right here. Oh yeah, they got the wheel gloss
Mhm.
where you can protect your chrome. I got that. I got so many different kinds of clear coat. Like I gotta,
Oh, you have to.
it just works different stuff. So
Yeah.
and I got like 30 paint cans all over the place and keep them
Oh yeah,
organized.
me too.
Yeah,
I've got probably 70. So
yeah. Well, you can come up with so many color variations with just 30.
right. Well, so like I said early on, I've been doing model cars for 30 years. And I've always spray painted my cars. I've never
Yeah.
done a airbrush car.
Uh,
And you do it long enough, you learn the tricks, and
yeah.
you learn how to manipulate the paint to kind of pull off, for the most part, what you're needing it to do. And
Yep.
then, sanding, buffing, whatever, you learn these tricks. So the only thing I can't pull off is being able to paint this big of an area and not get the paint anywhere else, because that's the only thing an airbrush is like perfect for.
Yeah. And
Because a spray
that's where the
can,
tape. That's where the
yeah, will
tape.
spray the whole
Your
car.
master tape. Yeah. When you need to spray
Right.
one little area, I'll lose. I'm gonna use half a freaking roll to
Yeah.
just to get
Right.
that
Right. Right.
square and make sure
Yeah.
nothing else touches. You know what I mean?
Right. And then when you're wanting that little area to be painted, to get right in the middle of that, but not get and have the edges of that little area faded.
This
Spray
one, this
can will
comes in
never
right
do
here.
that.
This one, this thing's coming. Little head visors.
Nice. Yeah. I'm actually gonna start needing those very soon.
Yeah, my eyes are getting pretty bad, and those things are amazing close-up stuff. So that's where I get my detail stuff.
Well, I'm very big on building even smaller than Hot Wheels. I build 187 scale, which is twice the size of a Hot Wheels. It's for HO scale train sets. Um,
Oh,
and so most people put a Hot Wheel on their train set, but that's twice as big as the car that's supposed to be on there. So I've got really big into that scale, and I built these rat rods in that scale where I actually put spark plug wires on an engine that's only this big,
oh
literally
man.
that big. It's not even a quarter of an inch. It's like an eighth of an inch is the size of the engine. And I put spark plug wires on a straight six. And I did that maybe 7 years ago. And I dropped the car and I had to rebuild it recently, I'd say like 2 years ago. And I'm looking at the engine. I'm thinking, I can't even see where these spark plugs go no more. How did I do that before? But I can't do that now.
Can't
I
do
don't
that
feel older.
now. Yeah, some days my eyes are great, and some days I'm like, oh man, where do my glasses go? You know what I mean? Like, what's
Right.
going?
Well, I don't wear glasses, but that little model is telling me I think I need to start getting glasses.
Yeah, you start looking at small stuff for a long period of time, your
Yeah.
eyes start to age a little faster. You know what I mean? They're
Right. Yes.
as hard as they
Because of
can.
the strain you're
Yeah,
putting your eyes to focus on that small of a
exhausted.
part.
Point they're just so tired. They're like they're done.
Right.
You know, hundreds of times, hundreds of times. Yes. I love that
Yeah, I'm
stuff.
getting there. I'm 42, and I don't feel 42, but my eyes and yeah, my eyes are telling me different.
Yeah. Yeah, I went to my doctor last week, and he was well, you're when he told me, this is the quote when he says, "Well, you're at that age." It just
Oh
hit me.
wow.
Oh my God, he just said it. You're at that
Yeah.
age. 40. He just told me I'm fucking 40. I'm like, oh my God, this is it.
Well, hey, if
Downhill.
you want to hear something that sounds even worse, the average lifespan in America is 80. The average. Obviously, there's plenty of people that live longer and plenty of people that live less, but the
Yeah.
average lifespan for an American is 80 years old. So if that's the case for us, we're over the hill.
Yes,
We're
we're done.
on the other side and on our way down.
We're out of here. That's okay though. I'll go down in a hail of gunfire. Tell you what,
Right? If you lived a good life, don't matter how you die.
that doesn't matter. I'm trying to think. I think on this one, on this 58, I'm gonna do that, and then either that it was gonna be that engraving I was talking about,
Mm-hmm.
or I was gonna cut the top off and then make it into Big Worms from Friday, his orange one. Remember he
That
drove
was
up
a
in the
61.
61,
Yeah.
61.
So that's 2 years away from that one.
Yeah.
It was
So
a
anyway,
61.
I think it was in the orange one of
Yeah.
that with the convertible. I'm gonna do like a leather strip in the rear so it looks like a canopy.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
I got the gold. I got the gold wheels right here from John.
Oh, nice.
John.
Yep.
And then it came with the. I think it was a Revell. I think it was. No, it wasn't Revell. It
Well,
was
Revell does make a 61. So you can take that car and make it. But Hot Wheels makes a 61 as well.
Maestro.
Oh, Maestro makes a 62.
This is a 59.
So,
It says right on the bottom.
oh, they
Maestro.
also make a 59. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Big
It's a,
Worms was a 61.
yes.
It
Oh,
doesn't matter. You can still make your version of it though,
yeah. Yeah. I was
out of
making a
that
virgin.
59. And that's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you what casting that was, but you just said it, so that's good.
Yeah. I forgot what it was. It's been in my. I just cleaned it out today because I took the paint off and stuff like that, and I put all my parts in a little plastic bag. And it comes with the chrome bumper and the chrome grill, which it's a thumbs
Right.
up. I mean,
Yes, definitely. Look,
I'm still, my chrome
my
pen went to crap,
oh,
so I got to
that's a
find.
heaven.
I
The
gotta
chrome
have.
pin is heaven.
I wish they had. Did they make the gold chrome pen?
No,
Oh
no.
my
They make a
God, they're
gold, they make a yellow marker that you can paint over the chrome to make it gold. It's not the same.
not the same. If they have
No.
the pen gold, that would change the game.
Listen, that
Change the game.
stupid chrome pen has been out for 5 or 6 years now. They never have yet still made a gold. What is happening?
We need it.
You
We need it. You
pioneered and revolutionized the chrome, but you can't make gold?
can't make the
Come
gold.
on.
If they do, it would blow up the market. Blow it up.
It 100% would. Because the
So
chrome
many
pin blew up the
manufacturers.
market.
Yes, there were so many applications for a gold one at this point in our lives.
Yes.
I
Now,
think
don't
with
get me wrong. The yellow or orange markers you can get and put over chrome don't look horribly bad, but they're not gold. They're
yeah,
just chrome yellow or chrome orange. That's all they
yeah.
are.
I do the tester's gold with the metallic best as
Mm-hmm.
I can do. I do that. That's pretty much it. But I think what they probably do is they still all these companies that have that chrome gold already on their cars, like
Mm-hmm.
Hot Wheels.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
probably have the same meeting with the guys that make that pen. Say, yeah,
Right.
you can make the chrome, it's fine, but you're not going to make that gold because no one's going to buy our cars
Right,
with the
right, right.
same, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're like, we draw the
Well,
line here.
what I do for like grills or a flat part of bumpers or just trim, if I want gold, I'll just use bare metal foil that model car guys use. You
Yeah,
know, about and you know, if you can cut it thin enough, it'll be perfect for this scale.
yeah,
But you just got to be able to cut it thin enough.
yeah.
because
Yeah,
bare metal foil is the only thing that's gold, that's true gold out there.
there's a another guy. I think it's a no, it's the same guy. The Diecast Resurrections guy. I forgot his name. Anyways, he did a 38 Ford. Spectre flamed the hell out of it, painted it with some kind of a glue, and he used the gold flake, actual flakes sheets,
Oh, damn.
and he put that glue on it, and then he set that gold flake sheet on it, and he did like 2-3 sheets painted on it. Let it set,
Wow.
and put the Spectre flame red on top of the gold. Dude,
Oh, that's
it was
awesome.
insane. The color that came through, the gold,
And he
and through
did
that.
that in 164 scale?
Yeah, he did that in 164.
What? That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, and I looked up the kit. You can get the kit for like $25, and it comes with like 10, 15 sheets, and it comes with
Yeah,
the glue
yeah.
and the paintbrush. Yeah.
Right.
So I think that might be my next step is get that kit and then see what I can do with that gold, and then maybe put the sheets on top of the bumper and see if we can do some gold leaf bumpers.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a talent that needs to be mastered, because I had a sheet of that. I couldn't pull it off, and I just gave up. I said, "This is dumb." The
His
outcome
wasn't
is great if you know how to do it right.
his
But
wasn't perfect. He says it doesn't have to be perfect because you'll have folds, you'll have rips, you'll have that just brings the extra color through.
right,
When you
right, right.
it just brings a different texture
Yeah.
to it. Yeah, his wasn't
Well,
perfect at all.
well, that's the thing with this 62. I mean, I don't know if you can see it, but the patterns underneath it, when I untaped
Yeah,
the pattern work, there were tears and rips all over the place, and I was going to leave it silver because it's silver underneath the pattern. And I was like, there's so many imperfections. I don't want to strip it down and repaint it. So let me try one last thing. And I just painted another red over it. So now it's a dark red and a light red, and that red covered up all the imperfections. I was like, oh, I didn't want
yeah.
to strip this
You're
whole
finally like,
thing
I'm gonna
down and
set it down.
repaint it.
Yeah, I'm gonna set it down, not touch it. I'm done with it. That's it. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? You just step
right.
back, put it in its case, and put it on the shelf.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And then you go through your head. I'm like, maybe I can fix it. Maybe if I just tape it really right, and you start going through your head like, maybe I can fix it. I can do this, and then you just messed it all up. Yeah, I
Yeah,
just
that's usually the case, because
yeah.
I don't have a pattern grid, say how to. I just kind of eyeball everything, so I know if I were to strip it all down and then repattern it, the pattern would have been completely different.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Way different. Yeah, I
But
can't wait to.
now this whole car is done by spray paint too. There's no airbrush anywhere on this card. All my cars are that way.
All my
You just
cars are
gotta,
at.
yeah, you just
Yeah,
gotta learn how to do it.
I don't have anything that's fancy in my shop. I got rattle cans, and my heater is my wife's airbrush or her hair dryer.
Nice.
I
Hey
mean,
man, if it works, it works.
it works. I'll heat my casting up. I'll put it on the little handy thing like that, and I'll heat my casting up really hot, and then I'll put my paint inside of hot water for about 10 minutes.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
way
yeah.
it starts getting
Right.
more, before
Yep,
even
that's the way you're supposed to
shake
do it.
30 minutes, not 30 seconds, and I'll shake it up. And then, because I have to wait for the weather sometimes, because it's
Oh
not
no,
all.
you do.
I
Right.
got wet rain, I got humidity here, I got sunny, and then it pours. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Dude,
So I
I'm in
gotta.
North Carolina. That's exactly what happens out here.
You just gotta wait and see what happens. Up here, if
There's
you
a
don't like
running
the
joke that you can have all four seasons in one day out here.
weather, up here is if you don't like the weather, wait 15 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's how it is out here too.
Yeah.
But the
So
funny thing is, I've actually painted in every weather. I don't care what it is. I
yeah,
just know what I need to do if I'm
yeah,
going to paint in that type of weather.
I painted in it was 3 inches of snow outside. It's
Yeah, so have
I have,
I.
yeah. I'll
The
paint
temperature
anywhere.
is 0 degrees, but I painted in it.
I'll paint in it. Yep.
You just need to know what you have to do if you're going to paint in that kind of stuff. So if
All
you
about
know, then you can
all,
paint anywhere.
yep. Prep your car as best as you can. That's where the best results are is.
Yeah.
All about prepping. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to take some photos off of Facebook of your work unless you want to send me whatever you want to send me, whatever you don't send me, and I find on Facebook on the
But
groups that you're in.
yeah, you can use
Um,
those.
I'll have a slideshow after this interview so people can see your work.
Okay, yeah, that'll work. I got one right here that I think it's. Let me see here. It's the Racing Champions. It's
Oh,
a
they make
simple.
a good truck. That is a very good casting.
Yeah, I just did a simple wheel swap. Put on his little 1820s on there, and that's it. You know, you got the open hood. You know, the open hood there, and I just took off the wheels, slapped these on there. I'm like, that's all I needed. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's been sitting on a shelf for I don't know years and years. It just needs the right wheels. That's all I needed.
it really does. And that's what most castings do is just need the right wheels because most castings for what we like are very good castings in their own right and very good paint, but the
Yeah,
wheels most of the time suck.
yeah, yeah. I think the wheel department needs a sometimes need to have a talking to.
Yes, they do.
If I
Well, that's what
design,
I was saying about those 100% cars. Those 100% cars, they have wheels that are actually, they fit to a T. That's why they're called 100%. They're 100% correct compared to any other casting out there of that model. And you go to a flea market or a diecast show or whatever, pick up some loose ones for $5, $10 a piece, whatever. Just take them for the wheels because they're perfect wheels.
yeah, yeah. And what are those lowriders that just came out for that set that came out with it wasn't M2, it was another company.
Oh, green light
Greenlight.
with the Gypsy Rose and the 63.
Those are horrible wheels except for the
Yeah, they
Gypsy.
really are. They really are.
You know what I mean? When I saw the lowrider, like the somebody sent the snap, I look at a picture of like lowriders green light and just the top part. And I'm like, yes. And then when it came out and I saw the wheels, I'm like, what? What are you doing? You know what I mean?
And the crazy thing is, the only toy company that could make a 164 scale lowrider wheel right was Revell. They were the only ones. Now, even though their width was too thick for a real tire, but the rim and tire combo, it's what the go-to was for 20 years for a lowrider tire.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this one, like if I'm in a department and making cars like lowriders and I make a 50, 59, 58, I'm like, all right, guys, I'm making a lowrider. Okay. You, the wheel department, got to come through to me because I'm doing
Right.
110% into this thing. And then
Yes.
when you see the full package and with that wheels, you've like completely destroyed my casting,
Right.
because they're not looking at the casting, they're looking at the wheels,
Yes.
and then they'll pass it. They're going to pass it on the pegs.
Well, if you look at some of the groups that were in the 164 lowrider groups, and you see the car companies and what these people are collecting and asking for, and you look at like Maestro, and they've got a few of the lowrider cars already, like from back in the day. The paint jobs are cool, but the rest of the car sucks. It's so out of proportion. The wheels are horrible, and people are just buying these cars like crazy because it says lowrider.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
don't even buy it. It's a
I don't. I
stupid
buy
car.
it as a stupid car. When I
Now,
saw that full set and I looked at the whole set and every wheel was damaging to the whole casting,
yeah.
I passed it. I didn't even touch it. I'm like, that's garbage.
Well, I've got the green light
That's what I'm looking
64.
for. I'm looking for the
Yeah.
Gypsy.
Yeah. And these wheels aren't good. I mean, they're thick as shit. They're
Man,
super thick. But you take these off and put John's wheels on there, and the whole car is perfect
yeah,
looking.
yeah. John makes those 5-spoke the Gypsies,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
right. And the same wheels
John,
will work for the Love Machine if you created
yeah.
the Love Machine.
Big shout out to John, man. John's there in his RPX1 designs, top notch,
The best
good to
in the
go,
business.
best in the
The
business.
very best. Yep. And he's going to be on a future episode. He just said he's so damn busy. He doesn't have any time to do any interviews.
I think half of it's me. I'm not lying. I think it's half of
Like, okay, so his wheel sets are $20 a piece. If that's what most people are paying. I don't know if he gives deals for multiple sets, whatever. I have yet to even buy a set. But at $20 a piece, you're not getting any deals. I see people's posts where they bought like 10 sets from him. I'm
Yeah,
thinking, who has that kind of money?
yeah.
I don't have that money.
Handfuls of sets. It's handfuls.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I buy
I'm
these.
thinking, I wish I had that money.
I think I'll buy $100 worth. I mean, just enough for 4 or 5 cars, and that's pretty much it. And those 4 or 5 cars will probably last me 3 to 4 months. And then if I get sick of the color, I'll redo them again. And I just redo them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if I find an
Well,
idea that I do it, I'll just put it back on the paint thinner and
I
see what's.
I definitely see it as like a selling point. Like if you wanted to use those wheels and build a car and you're going to sell it for, you know, 2 times what those wheels cost. Because say you just had a regular 64 Impala that you got from Walmart for $1. You put those wheels on it at a different paint job. Now you can sell that car for, $40 and you've made your money back 2 times
Yeah,
because you did
yeah.
very little work to it.
My cars, when I make the cars and selling them, pricing them, as I want people to enjoy my customers. That's basically what I want. You know what I mean? I'm not here to keep them. I'm not here to make crazy amount of money. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just want to keep my hobby going, keep me busy in my shop. So when I do like a lowrider, like that red one, I posted that one. That's probably gonna go for like $30, even though my tires cost me 25. You
Right.
know,
Right. Right.
plus you're getting a case. You know what I mean?
Oh,
That's
nice.
all included. So all of it's $30 plus a little bit of shipping, maybe wherever you're at, $4 or $5. You
Yeah.
know, it's dirt cheap and it keeps me going. And it gets my name
Right.
out. That's pretty much what I want. I want people to enjoy them.
Yeah. Well, no
And,
kidding. This
and
car,
yeah,
I said, I would sell it. I mean, it all opens and closes. Everything closes on it. So it's, a fully custom car that you can open and close. But I said I'd sell this thing for $250 and
yeah.
nobody's bought it. But that's because I don't want to sell it and I don't want to build another one. So if I ask an astronomical price and nobody will buy it, then I
And then
can keep
somebody
it.
bites, you're like, damn it, somebody bit.
Right. Well, if they want to pay that much for it, I will sell it to them.
But
Then
I
I'll
ain't
have
gonna
to
make
go
it a
take the painstaking process of building another one.
Yeah. And the market's changed today. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like 2 or 3 years ago where people could afford a $40 custom. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now we got to budget out for gas is like $6 a gallon. You know what I mean? So when your
Dude, I
cars,
know. The
you
West
gotta,
Coast is crazy.
it's crazy. So when I build a custom, I build it to where the market is. I build it to where what people can afford and what people are looking for when they get a custom. Like if they're looking
Right.
for like, oh, I can only spend $10 on a custom. Like that's fine. I have a custom here that's $10, but it has plastic wheels. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
They're like,
Right.
that's
Right.
fine. It's $10 and it's a badass custom. Perfect. That works. Or I try selling that 62 Chevy, the with the shark teeth that I
Hmm.
posted. I tried, asking $40, which is a decent price for how much work I put into that thing. And the guy asked me, he goes, how much is that truck? He said 40. I'm like, maybe next time. I said, well, how about this? Could you do 25 on it? He goes, yeah, I could do 25. See, it's gone. See,
Nice.
now, you know what I mean? It's
Nice.
paid for. It's good to go. I put very little into it, but now he can
Yeah.
truck that he really wanted, but he couldn't afford it. So you just got to adjust your pricing for your custom today,
Right.
anyways.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
people still want cars, they still want to have a collection, but they just can't. It's groceries or your custom. You know what I mean? You want to have
Right.
both. So I try
Well,
to have, but I
nowadays
can make.
nowadays it's definitely at that point because gas, food, rent. I mean, people that are renting in apartments, everything is going absolute nuts.
Skyrocket right now. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what the market's changed. So I just want people to like them. I just want people to have them. If they can't afford them and they're like, oh, could you please hold it for me? I'm like, I'll hold it for you, but it's not going to be a long time. If I have somebody else
Right.
asking for it, because
Right.
my
Right. Right.
customers 2, 3 years ago were like 25, $30 a pop, and that was no problem. Now I have dropped them to the market where they're like $10, $15, and they're still steady. They're going, you know,
Hmm.
that's fine. It's a car. It's basically just a car. You know what I mean?
That
It's a
really is all it is.
That's all it
Yeah.
is. And if they like it and they like my work, heck, let's do a deal and you can have it. You know what I mean?
Right. 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 If you can't do it and I can do it, I'll do it then.
I'll do it. I'll do
Yeah,
it. Whatever you want. You know, if you want me
because
to bring it down to $2,
there's a
I'll bring
lot
it.
less customizers than there are collectors.
Yeah.
Probably 75% of this whole hobby is, or maybe 80% is all collectors, and the other half, or the other 20 or 10% is all customizers.
Yeah. And I got totes of cars. You know what I mean?
Oh, we all
I
do.
think this little. I'm a sucker for little kids. You know what I mean? I was the same way. She came at the last minute. Didn't really have enough money because her older son spent it all. This little kid, he was 5 or 6 years old, maybe 4, and he was looking for a car. And I was like, just I opened the case, it was 2-sided cases. I was like, pick out a car, and he couldn't pick a car. Like he was just all over the place, like a little kid is. Like, which one is the best
Yeah,
one? Which is
right,
one?
right.
And I just gave her the whole case. We held like 50 cars. I'm like, here, just take the case.
That's
She goes,
awesome.
no way. I'm like, yeah, I've had these cars for so long. They're stuck
Right.
in this case. They're gonna be
Yeah,
stuck in this
doing
case and
nothing.
for I don't know who's how long. But this kid
Yeah,
is gonna go home and just hammer down on all of them and
right.
spread them across the freaking carpet. Have mom and dad step on them, and you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah,
They'll be used. They'll be used and be ready to go. I've done that tons of times. I mean, here's a car. Here's a car. I just give cars out. You know what I mean? It's just not really for
right.
any. Most of my table was $5. We're talking about premiums. They're like $4 or $5. Everybody else
Wow.
down the hallway, $8 to $10 for a premium. Like no one's
Right,
gonna do
right.
at today's market. No one. You're gonna go home with all those full.
Yeah,
Still,
exactly.
I got 3 completely empty ones today. You know, you got to change your
Right.
market. You know what I mean?
You really do. And sounding from what you're saying, it sounds like uh you understand the need, and you understand that this is just a hobby. They are just cars. Nobody needs to get rich off of this hobby,
No.
and you're not trying to take advantage of anybody. So you're like the go-to guy, or not go-to, you're the stand-up guy in this hobby. We need more people like you in this hobby.
That's what I'm trying to get it out there. It's just you don't want to if you can make money, but for me, it's not making money. It's just to keep me busy in my small
Right.
town, And if I have a talent, heck, I'm gonna use it and have fun with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'll get pop-ups on my Facebook of like JDM Sports. I'll go on their page, and that's where I get my ideas on paint jobs and
Hmm. Yeah.
how they're slammed and all that kind of stuff. I'll just like, I got an idea. I'll be right back, hon. I'll go upstairs. I'll slam a 510 Bluebird and the paint thinner really quick. Get an
Right.
idea. Snapshot that screen, and I'll do that car.
Nice.
I'll show you. I'll send you a picture, but I just did a 2020 GT500 that I saw on Facebook. This car, the only car picture of is the front of the Mustang, and it's a Spectre Flame yellow with black Riley stripes all the way across, and then you
Oh,
saw
wow.
the headlight were red, like a red circle, and then 3 red stripes in front of it, and then it had like a little drop kit in the rear. That's all I had was for picture, and then I'll show you a picture. I made it to that color with those stripes with the headlights, and
That's awesome, man.
I got a case for it. Actually, that's right here. I don't know if you can see it. Here's the Spectre Flame gold or yellow, whatever you want to call it. We see the headlights there, red with the red stripes, and I dropped the rear so it sets flush.
That's awesome.
Then I did the back, and I put custom exhaust in the rear there. Got some pipes coming out. I'll post that one, but that one was fun. Took me twice because the paint kept on chipping, and then
Right.
I was getting frustrated, so I let it go, and then I watched that guy because I knew he'd said something about how to protect your Spectre Flame if you want to do stripes and put tape on it. And I guess the trick is, to me, it worked for him too, is you paint your car, let it dry, and then put 2 coats of clear coat over the paint, let
Right.
that completely dry, and then tape on top of that. That
Yeah,
way you have
yeah. Right.
separation, and
Yeah,
it works. It's perfect.
that's with every paint job on any car.
The first time I completely forgot about that, and I put that tape off, and it peeled that paint right off
Yeah,
there. Like I forgot the clear coat. I'm like, ah,
especially if you're using decals. You paint that clear over them decals at
oh,
least twice. Because
twice.
if you're gonna put you're gonna put another design over that with tape. Oh, that tape's gonna rip them all off.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got the real riders on there, and
Yeah, that looks like just from what I can see from this camera, that looks like it would be a Redline Club offer with the Spectra Flame.
that's that wicked rally stripes, the front, all the way through. The stripes go all the way to the bottom. Which, yeah, it was so much fun. I love that thing. I'll make
That's
another one.
awesome, man.
I have another one, and I made Eleanor 67 Shelby
That's
GT5.
even cooler.
I made that one. I posted that one. It was gone in 10 minutes. There's the older
Oh
guy.
wow,
He saw it.
that's cool.
And, he's like, "How much?" I'm like, $20 shipped, and it's yours. He goes, "No."
Nice.
I'm like, "Yeah." It comes with a case too, like that M2 case. I gave him an M2
Yeah,
case,
yeah.
and yeah, I sent it right out the next day. I mean, it was. I enjoyed it for like a day and a half.
Right.
Just looking at it, looking at it, I'm like, man, those strips came out really cool. Even those wheels are pretty cool. And I just
Yeah, my
posted.
big problem is I build 125th scale, 164 scale, 187 scale all the time. I'm bouncing in between the scales so much that I don't just stick with one scale and pump out a whole bunch. I'll pump out one 164 scale, then I'll jump to 187 and pump out maybe 5 or 6 of those, and then go to a 125th scale and pump out 1 or 2 of those. And I'm just bouncing so much that I don't ever have time to just pump out one scale back to back to back.
Yeah, I don't. You see these customizers today, they're like pumping them out, boom, 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 and you can kind of see, you know,
Right.
it's done so fast.
Yeah.
I think I do mine like maybe two, one a week. Whenever I have time, because I got a full time job too,
Right.
and I
Yeah.
got week,
Right.
and I'll be up here when I'm up here after work. I get off at 1:30 in the morning, and then I'll come up here to cool down, like a little
Yeah.
bit, and I'll be up here to about 3 o'clock. I mean, whatever I'm doing, 3 o'clock, I'm going to bed no matter what I'm doing or where I'm at a car. And
That's good.
the next day I'll get up and I won't even come up here because I'm usually just chilling with the wife, watch
Yeah.
TV,
Right.
And then if she
Yeah.
wants to watch her show, like her special, whatever show she likes to show or watch, I'm like, hey, you gonna watch your show? I'm gonna go upstairs real quick and work on a car. She goes, oh yeah, that's cool, that's cool. And then when she's
Nice.
done with the show, I'll go downstairs and I'll eat and all that stuff. So yeah,
That's
that's
awesome.
yeah. I
Yeah,
just love
that 62 Impala, I built that whole thing in just a week.
really.
So, yeah, and that's kind of like if I'm gonna build it, I'm gonna build it like straightforward. I'm gonna go all the way with it. I'm gonna do it as fast as I can because if I waste time, I'll like lose interest on it. I have the idea in my head. I want to get it out of my head. I want to make it actually happen, and
Yes,
then I want to move on to the next thing.
exactly.
So
I
with
have an idea in my head. I've got to
yes,
get that in my head. I'm gonna go
right,
upstairs, lay that idea down. Okay, I got the foundation, paint jobs on there. Now I just gotta wait for the wheels. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like this one, I'll
because
show you.
if it
I'll show
stays in your
you.
head,
Yeah,
then if you don't do something with it, the idea is going to slowly start disappearing.
yeah,
It's going to turn into something else. And then you even might get lazy and be like, well, I haven't done it in a week. What's another week?
yeah. Then you just won't do it, and then you're like,
Right.
okay, on. Then you do another
So
one.
I just want to, I have it in my head. I got to get it out of my head and I got to put it in, actual physical form.
Yeah, wheels. Yeah, I've waited a week for wheels, just for a pair of wheels, just to make sure my car, like this car right here, I'll show you. I don't know if you saw the 43 Richard Petty one. That
Mm-hmm.
one. This one, I had the paint job laid out. I had the decals laid out. I just didn't have any wheels on it. And I was trying everything that I had. Like I had like what is this? The Racing Champions NASCAR old ones with the
Yeah,
white
yeah,
light,
yeah.
BF Goodwrench. I wanted to use those, but I'm like, it doesn't look right. It just doesn't set it off. And then for some reason, like the next day, somebody posted Falcon tires, plastic ones for sale for $4. I'm like, those are the tires that I need right there. And I slapped those Falcons on there, and it just sets it off. Because you got a Japanese car, and then you
Right.
got American Legend on the car. You know what I mean? This was
Yeah, yeah,
combined
yeah.
both of
Right,
those,
yeah. Yeah,
and then the
JDM American.
JDM, a legendary Japanese car. You got a
Right.
legendary 43 Richard Petty. Combine those two. I was just like, that was an idea. I'm like, went upstairs and I just made it real quick. I
No,
had
that's a
the
neat idea.
yeah, and then it's a two-tone. So you got light blue. It's faded light blue here, and then it goes darker blue at the bottom. Goes faded through, and then you got the tail lights, the details of the cooler and all that stuff. Slammed it, put a floor kit on there, or a ground kit on there, and it rolled like a champ. I
That's
don't know if I'm
awesome,
gonna
man.
do it. I think I'll keep this. But
Yeah. I mean, there's some cars you just gotta keep. And then
yeah,
other cars you're like, I don't need this.
I'm not attached at all. It took me too long or 3 times to do it. I want to get rid of it. I don't want to look at it anymore.
Right,
I know.
right, right. Yeah, I am done.
I'm
That's like
done
the
with
62. I mean, I only built it in a week, so it's not like it took me a long time, but I've had it for a little while. It's been done since the beginning of the pandemic, and I don't technically need it anymore. It hasn't been to the West Coast for any shows, but I know if I took it to shows, I'd win all these awards and whatever.
heck
But
yeah.
I don't need, I don't need to have it. I've already won some awards. I don't need to keep winning the rest of them.
Yeah. But it's just fun going and showing it off. Like, hey, I like when people ask me questions. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Especially young kids are just getting into customs and stuff like that. They're like, "Oh, I see you do this paint job. How did you do that?" Or "How did you get your
right.
decal to stay like that?" And then I'll sit there for 20 minutes, and my wife's doing deals on the side, to make sure I'm doing stuff,
Yeah,
and I'll make sure he understands how to do it. That way he can go home and try it out. And I was
right,
like, "Hey,
right, right.
if it doesn't work like that, you can try this out, and we come up with the same
Yeah,
idea."
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Share the skills and the passion you have, so anybody can try it out for themselves, and maybe they'll turn into a customizer.
You can tell the passion they have for cars. I'm like, yeah, I've got tons of castings everywhere, pieces all over the place. I don't really have any supplies. I'm like, that's how I started. I didn't have
That's
anything.
how we all started.
There's just parts everywhere. I
Yeah.
just I'm like, just detail your headlights with pens first, and if you like
Hmm.
that, just start doing with testers paint with your paint brushes, and then yeah, it just goes on from there.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool hobby, and all the skills, just building cars in any like hobby skill. I mean, even like a 1-1 car, it costs a lot more money, but it's still fun because you're personalizing it, you're making it your own, and that's the same thing we doing with this little stuff. You
Yeah,
know,
can you
it's just a
imagine
lot
like
cheaper.
a hot wheel, like a customizer like me having a 1-1? What I would do if I had like my favorite car is a 70 Chevelle. That's my dream car. So if I had a 70 Chevelle, a customizer like me, because I've been doing Hot Wheels for a long time, I would
Yeah,
continue to repaint the car. You know,
right, right.
like it wouldn't be like that nice red and white with the Riley stripes. It would be.
Well,
I'd change
it'd
it
be
to the
cheaper
black
if you
silver
just
strip.
wrapped the car. Just go with
Yeah,
wraps.
wraps are
It's a
great.
lot cheaper that way.
It is cheaper, but they're a pain in the ass to take off if you have them too long. They just tear like.
Don't you take it off. Just go get another wrap. They'll take it off when they put
Oh,
the
it's
new
true.
wrap on.
When you have that much money, you can do whatever, huh? Yeah.
Right,
As a customizer, I'd continuously change the whole paint job
yeah,
like
yeah,
vigorously. You know what I mean? Because I wouldn't be
right,
happy with
right,
one paint and then keep it like that. I'm like, I want to see what the color shift would look like on this color, or a faded
right.
color shift. Yeah. So if I had
Well,
my
yeah.
70 with money, I'd probably do that.
Well, that's like the Lowrider magazine super shows. If you enter your car into a super show and it's going for best of show, it the next year you go there, it can't be the same
No,
way. It's got to be changed. You got to put upgrades or yeah.
you won't
So
even you won't be ranked.
right,
Yeah.
right. So I get it. I mean, you're living by the same rules. You're
Yeah.
just doing it to your own personal car, not having it be at a super show.
Like I did this custom, and then everybody likes it, and I like it more than anybody else. But if I can just pop that, and see what else I can do, go outside your comfort
Right.
zone. I do that a lot.
Yeah.
I try to get outside of my comfort zone, even though I'm stuck. I do all kinds of customs. Like I'll do Japanese muscle cars. I'll do rat rods. After this GT 500, I'm going to do a tractor pull Dodge truck.
Oh
You know,
wow.
with the weights
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
front, the big
yeah.
tires, massive stacks. That's my next one I'm going to do.
Jeez, man, that's
Yeah,
gonna be wild. I kind of
that's
stick with the genre that I love. It's just like uh,
I'm all over. I'm all over
customs.
for it.
Yeah, customs, lowriders, and rat rods. That's pretty much all I stick to. I don't go out of that. Only not because I couldn't, just because I don't want to.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like in my heart I could build you anything you want within reason,
yeah.
but I don't want to build you anything you want. I want to build what I want.
Yeah, when I have an idea and I see it, like I watch a show and I see a really cool car, and I'm like, I think I could do that. If I can't,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna see what happens, and if it does come out,
Right.
I'm like, I just stepped it up again. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
holy.
In
So I
worst
think,
case scenario, it's a cheap,
yeah,
diecast car.
yeah,
You didn't spend very much money on it, so it's not like you're gonna break the bank trying it.
yeah. That truck I'm gonna do is gonna be a next level for me because I haven't done like stuff like that with the weights and then the
Right.
suspension a little high but low and the wide
Are you
tires.
gonna extend the bed?
Yeah,
Usually those trucks have
yeah,
extended beds.
extended beds with the weights on the front, and then the wide rear mud tires with the
Hmm.
flaps in the rear. Yeah, I'm gonna go and then I'll make some kind of a decal to go with that kind of a paint theme because they have those
Right, right.
crazy themes. Yeah,
Yeah. That'll be wild, man.
yeah,
Good
I can't
luck
wait.
on that one.
Yeah, I
That
got to pick up a
that sounds
truck. I
crazy.
either a Dodge or a Ford, but I got a Ford, so it might be a Ford.
Well, I do know that Hot Wheels in early 2000s made a S10 like salt flats racing truck. Had a
Yeah,
big cow induction hood, and it went like really sloped down in the front, and that kind of sort of in a weird way is set up in with a little bit of modifications to be like a tractor pull.
I was gonna do
But
a. This sounds like a good one right there. I was gonna do that. The Walton's Ford, the old 70, 77,
oh,
70.
that'll be neat.
Yeah, dude, the old classic, but modern type setup.
Right, right.
Yeah,
That'll be cool.
because it comes with rubber, real riders, anyways, and then I guess
Right, right.
probably if they're thick enough, I can probably carve those flat or those mud
Yeah,
flats, with the
right. Like,
Dremel.
yeah,
Yeah,
like dune buggy tires.
yeah, carve the rubber out of there. Yeah, that'd be nice. I could probably do
That'll be
that
neat.
if they're thick enough.
Yeah,
If
man.
not,
Good luck on that one.
that
That
sounds
sounds like a
fun.
neat idea.
Just talking about it makes me want to do it right now.
Right.
Let's scoot all this stuff to the side and start working on a truck.
Well, man, I'll tell you what, it's 10 minutes to 10 or 10 minutes to
Yeah,
9:30 out
I think
here.
I think my wife's getting a little hungry, so I'm gonna have to
It is
short.
about that time for dinner.
Yeah, she's
Um,
gonna be in a minute.
thanks for doing this, man. I appreciate it.
No, thank
And
you, man. Like I said, I was completely nervous. I'm like, I don't know what I was gonna do, what I was gonna say, and all that stuff. So I hope it came out right, and I hope it came out okay.
no, it came out great. And that's why I keep it casual. We talk about whatever, within the hobby. That way it's super casual. You don't, you're not
And it's
restricted to
it's
anything.
it's so nice to talk to somebody else that knows the same
Yeah,
kind of genre we've been through. You know,
right.
what we've been
I
car
mean,
shows
it's one thing to talk to a collector, and then it's another thing to talk to a customizer that understands everything you're saying already.
because a
Because
collector,
collectors, they understand the car, but they don't understand how you fix the car up.
how do you fix it, or how do you do it, or what's
Right.
involved in paint jobs and stuff like that. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking about. Cool
So
beans, brother.
I'll put a links to your Facebook page in the description. So if anybody wants to get a hold of you and see, it can contact you for any of your customs or whatever, they have a little link down there. And then I'll get whatever I can find on the internet, on Facebook of your cars. And if you want to send me other things, other cars that you've done too, and
Actually,
then I
I
can just,
put all my cars on my Instagram, so we check those out. Once
oh,
they're done,
okay.
I put it there. Yeah.
Well, I don't, I'm probably following you on Instagram, but most
Yeah.
people don't have the same name on Instagram as they do on Facebook,
Yeah, I saw you. I
unless you
followed
do.
you. You got me back
Oh,
too.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, then just send me a message so I can pull your cars off of Instagram and I can get a little slideshow of everything after this
All right.
interview is done.
Yeah, that'll work.
But I'll sign off and then we can say our goodbyes. So everybody, I hope you like this episode. I think it was really, very, I can't even talk. I'm so tired. Really cool. Vic is an awesome guy to talk to. He's a great customizer. You'll see that in the slideshow. And until next episode, we'll see you guys later. All right, everybody. That was Victor Salazar, all the way from the West Coast. Custom car custom diecast builder from 164th, 124th, and 118th scale cars. Like I said multiple times, there will be a slideshow right after this if you want to stay tuned to see any of his cars. But I will also have a link to his Instagram and his Facebook page. He says he's downloaded all the cars he's built to his Instagram page, so you'll be able to see them there. But if you don't want to click on that link, you can just watch the slideshow and I'll have his cars on the slideshow. And don't forget, like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you like this. Let them know that you've seen this. And yeah, I think that's about it. And like the last video, if you guys want to be interviewed, you can hit me up on YouTube, message, leave a comment, say, hey, I would like to be interviewed, or or you can hit me up on Facebook, Sam Dennehy, with this logo of the background is my profile pic, as well as Instagram. My Instagram is Halfass Customs 1, Halfass Customs with a K1, with the same background logo as the profile. You want your own video, you want your own interview, I'm willing and able, so just let me know and we'll get that going. So until next episode, we'll see you guys later.